Thursday. We are on day 3 of the Karen Read trial. We're going to continue with the testimony of paramedic firefighter Daniel Whitley. Now, Daniel Whitley was not at the scene resuscitating John O'Keefe, or attempting to resuscitate John O'Keefe, the victim. Cheryl says hi, by the way. But he was the paramedic firefighter who responded to the scene because he was supposed to pick up Karen Read and basically take her for a psychiatric evaluation. Karen Read, after leaving the scene, was in a car ride with Carrie Roberts. She called her father, and she was basically making comments about how if something happened to John O'Keefe, that she was going to possibly do something harmful to her life. And so her parents were really concerned about Karen Read. They had called, I guess, 911, and they reached out to Carrie Roberts, I think it was 911 or law enforcement did, and asked them to bring Karen Read back to the scene because they were afraid she was going to do something. So he is a paramedic firefighter who responded to the scene, and he had some things to say about Karen. He did do an evaluation of her, but there were some things that he said that I know the defense is really going to be picking bones with, in regards to Karen Read saying that, you know, could John have died of hypothermia or something like that, and that he was sitting outside in this in the cold for a while. Could he have gotten cold? And so basically, I think we're in the middle of cross-examination right now. Yes, we are. We're in the middle of cross-examination right now with David Yannetti, and I think Cheryl wants a bone, so I'll be right back. Hold on. I usually give him a snack before I start my stream, so he's like, hey, where's my snack? Doggos are so funny. He's like, hey, you forgot something, ma'am. You started your stream. Oh, and I forgot to put Twitch chat up. Here it goes. Where is he? Where'd he go? You guys want to see him? He's somewhere around here. Hello? Where are you? Okay, come on, buddy. Sit. You're crazy right now. Up. Sit. No. Sit. He's like way too excited right now. Hold on. Sit. Oh, Cheryl. Sit. There you go. Sit. Palm. Slowly. Leave it. All right, he's a crazy guy. He says hi, by the way. Yeah, crazy boy. So I honestly was not going to stream today, but I was like, oh, it's a short day today. I think the prosecution fucked up. There was some miscommunication or something, and they didn't have any witnesses testify for the rest of the day. So jury got to be they got to be sent home early today. Yesterday, tomorrow, my understanding is that they are going to do a viewing / field trip, I guess, to 34 Fairview, just to see the layout, the lawn, the flagpole, there's like a fire hydrant on the lawn of 34 Fairview. Could see like the roads, the neighborhood, and stuff like that. So I believe they're going to be going there for a live viewing. All right, let me jump over here. And hi, Moondog. How are you doing today? Sorry, I don't have my Twitch chat up. It disappeared. Where'd it go? I gotta open a new window. But hello. How are you doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. Get my earbuds in. Oh, I think tomorrow we might do the Sarah Boone sidebars. I'm gonna see how much I can get done today with because I got the document downloaded. I just gotta go through it. So far I'm in the jury voir dire right now, so I haven't gotten to all the sidebar stuff during the trial, but I bet you it's probably gonna be crazy. You're taking the day off, you need to rest. Oh man, for the past couple days, I was feeling super tired, like very, very tired. I feel like we just weren't getting good sleep because whenever we travel to the East Coast, the time zones are different. I mean, it's only 3 hours, but still, I was getting like no sleep. I was so tired when I came back. Whew. And then traveling, like I don't like traveling. I hate flying in airplanes. It like fucks up my respiratory system because everything just feels so dry. Yeah, the Sarah Boone suitcase sidebars. Hi, Kurt. How are you doing today? How's it going? All right, so we're going to continue with the cross-examination of Daniel Whitley, and it's going to be done by Mr. Yannetti.
Can I proceed?
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Whitley, yesterday you testified that when Karen Reed was brought to the hospital, she didn't want to get into a hospital Johnny and she didn't want to give a urine sample. Do you recall that testimony?
I do.
It was clear to you that her reluctance to cooperate at that time was because she very much wanted to check on John's progress and status at the hospital, correct?
No, I don't believe that to be the case.
Well, you testified before the grand jury regarding this matter 3 years ago, didn't you?
I don't believe I said that she was
I didn't ask you that question. You testified before the grand jury 3 years ago, didn't you?
I testified before the grand jury 3
Ooh, it is getting fiery, and we are just starting.
years ago.
You were under oath then, as you're under oath today, correct?
Correct.
You swore to tell the truth.
I am telling the truth.
You swore to tell the truth in 2022 before the grand jury, did you not?
I did.
That was less than 3 months after you brought Karen Reed to the hospital, didn't you?
Yeah.
And your memory of what happened at the hospital was very good in April of 2022, right?
As good as today?
Your memory in April of 2022 was very good, wasn't it?
It was very good as it is today.
Okay, so you want to add the as it is today, despite the fact that you weren't asked that question. Is that right?
Gotcha.
Sustained.
All right. When questioned by Mr. Lally at the grand jury, you were asked the following question. So what, if any, interaction did you have with her, meaning Ms. Reed, at the hospital once you were there? You remember that question, right?
I do.
And your answer...
Oh, I forgot. There was also the snarky comments. During direct examination, he did mention that Karen Reed was crying and she was like crying in her hands. And then she was saying how she wouldn't be able to take care of the kids. And the guy was like saying, oh, it's okay. You know, you have like a good support system. And then Karen Reed like stuck her head up, said something about Carrie Roberts, rolled her eyes, and then put her face back into her hands. So I don't know. There was like some snark that he was saying that he detected from Karen Reed, and he thought it was like really odd. However, I remember Yannetti was mentioning that, well, you didn't put that in your report, did you? He's like, no, I didn't put it in my report. That's something I don't normally would put in my report. So they were trying to grill him on the whole snarky thing as well. And then, about Karen Reed not wanting to give a urine sample when she got to the hospital. It was like urine sample and like blood sample or something like that. Hey, taxi, how's it going today? Angie, how are you? Hello, hello.
answer was, so after that, I helped escort her down to, they call it the psych hallway, where they have rooms set up for psychiatric patients for their evaluation. And then she was unhappy that she wasn't able to see him, meaning John. And she kept trying to. She didn't want to get into a hospital Johnny. She didn't want to, I believe, give a urine sample. She was not, the nurses were asking her to do certain things that every patient has to do, and she was not cooperating with them. Do you remember that answer?
I do.
So 3 years ago, when you testified about this issue of giving a urine sample, you testified under oath that you believed that she didn't want to give a urine sample, correct?
Correct.
Yesterday, 3 years later, you testified with certainty that she didn't want to give them, right?
Yeah, she was giving them a hard time about having to give a urine sample.
Right. No, I'm asking you about your testimony yesterday in contrast to the grand jury, sir. Okay. To the extent that I ask yes or no question, I'd like yes or no answers.
So
okay?
no instructions to the witness, Mr. Yannetti. Ask the question.
Be instructed to answer the question yes or no if it calls for a yes or no question.
Answer. Answer the question that's asked of you. Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead, ask
What were you guys all doing before stream started?
the question.
You testified yesterday that she didn't want to give a urine sample without saying it was your belief that she didn't want to give one, correct?
Correct.
In any case, were you aware that when she was asked to give a urine sample, that Ms. Reed had gotten her period and did not have a tampon?
I was aware she was on her period, yes.
You're also aware that when somebody is brought to the hospital for a Section 12, they have no privacy. Isn't that right?
They have medical privacy. Either the tech or the nurse would be with the patient at all times.
Okay. With them at all times, observing them at all times, correct?
So they wouldn't be, she wasn't in like a hallway open to
Oh, were you watching this live? Where were you guys watching this?
the public.
Understood, sir. But she also, when I said privacy, what I was asking is, she was not allowed to go to the bathroom alone.
So basically, Yannetti's trying to combat the fact that he was stating Karen Reed was not being cooperative, did not want to give a urine sample, maybe wouldn't get into the Johnnies. I wasn't sure about that part.
Give a urine sample,
Correct.
correct?
She was a psychiatric patient.
Right.
Just left the animal hospital to meet a friend and her dog. He ate a Q-tip and it wouldn't come out. Oh, how small is that doggo? Well, at least Q-tips, their body can probably digest it. I don't, depends on the middle part. If it's like plastic Q-tip or if it's all made of paper. Oh, I hope they're okay. He's 5.5 pounds. No. Listen, I had a dog that would just eat foreign shit all the time, and it's very stressful. Luckily for Shiro, he eats things that are, organic, like fucking cat poop. So what we have to worry about is parasites, and we get him the medication for that. But yeah, when they start eating like foreign objects that are not digestible, like things that are like belts, toys, plastics, that's when it gets really sweaty because you got to get them to the hospital like ASAP, get it out of their stomach. And if it's already past their stomach and in their intestines, that's when it's like, oh shit, you might have to do the surgery. But yeah, I hope the doggy's, I'm glad the dog's fine. Hey lady, how are you doing today? Oh, what are you drawing? You're watching Melanie Little's channel. I did some home improvement, heavy lifting, had to redraw a brick hole because the shelf was not perfectly leveled. Then used 2 component materials to make new proper holes. Listen, I know how it feels when you're like working hard and you're trying to drill some holes in and then you install that damn shelf and you're like, huh, wait a second, looks kind of crooked. I had contractors working in my house and I was like trying to like take a sneak peek and like learn to see how they mounted like shelving and stuff like that because they do it so quick and fast. I'm like, how do you guys do it so easy? It's like effortless for you guys. Hey Bleep, how's it going? Hello, hello. I'm good. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, I'm chilling. You know, we're just chilling today. I'm just trying to get over this like extreme tiredness that I've been having this week. I wasn't sure if I was getting sick or if I was just, I don't know, like maybe having a baby jet lag from East Coast or something, but I felt like I was just like super tired this week and just like uninspired.
So she would have to use the bathroom in front of hospital personnel or some medical personnel with people watching her while she was on her period with no tampon, correct?
I would understand that to be true.
All right. And you're aware that she did cooperate and eventually give a blood sample as well, correct?
I'm not aware of a blood sample, but urine sample, yes.
She did give the urine sample.
Correct.
Now, in your testimony, yes, of what Karen Reed may have asked you.
Oh, we got a new camera. That's right. I don't know when the hell they started installing the second camera. We got a second camera now, and this one is just me facing Karen Reed. I honestly just want them to just face the evidence. But I mean, I guess it's cool to see her reaction, but I don't know. There's time where I think they're reading the text messages. I don't know why they didn't show the beginning of the text message on the screen. Like, I'd rather see that.
About John surviving in the snow with light clothing. You remember those questions? John surviving in the snow with light clothing. You remember those questions?
I remember asking about not having a jacket, correct?
Now, starting at the end of the day, when I cross-examined you yesterday, I asked you about that topic, and I said to you, you mentioned something about hypothermia, that you assumed you may have been dealing with the hypothermia situation, and your answer was, well, she said that he had been out in the snow without a jacket for many hours, correct?
Correct.
But before I cross-examined you at the end of the day yesterday, you previously testified 3 times about this topic, correct?
I believe it would be the grand jury and the previous trial.
Right, and direct examination when Mr. Brennan was asking you questions.
Oh, I don't have... Oh, no closed captions. Oops. Are you guys okay with no closed captions? If we really want closed captions, let me know. I could maybe find a court TV feed.
Before I stood up, correct?
Okay, yes.
Let's start with the first time you testified about this topic back in 2022. That was, again, less than 3 months after you had a conversation with Ms. Reed at the scene on January 29th, correct?
Correct.
Her statements and questions to you at the scene were fresh in your mind in April of 2022, correct?
Correct.
In April of 2022, before the grand jury, Mr. Lally asked you, quote, what, if any, questions did she ask you regarding hypothermia? Do you remember that question?
I do.
Your answer was, she was just wondering if he could have survived outside in the cold even though he didn't have a jacket on. Do you remember giving that answer?
I do.
Nowhere in that answer, in 2022, less than 3 months after these events, do you attribute the words, quote, many hours, end quote, in the snow to Ms. Reed, correct?
Yes, I was not.
I'm not asking for an explanation, sir. I'm asking for an answer.
All right, so he was answering you, Mr. Yannick.
My question called for a yes or no answer.
If I was a witness on the stand, I would get so triggered if a defense attorney is like badgering me. Yes or no, yes or no. It's like, no, I don't want to give you a yes or no answer. I want to explain my answers to you. Like, I hate it when you're confined to yes or no's. That would trigger the shit out of me. But I know what Yannetti wants. Yannetti's like, no, I just want you to answer this little tiny thing, and I don't want you to give me more answers than I'm asking for. So I think for Yannetti's like very effective, but like if I was a witness in the stand, I'd be sweating right now.
Nowhere in your answer in 2022 do you attribute the words many hours in the snow to Ms. Reed, yes or no?
No, I did not say that at that point.
Nowhere in your answer in 2022 do you testify that Ms. Reed told you he had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
She did.
Sir, I'm asking you about your testimony.
So let him answer the question.
Let me ask it again. Nowhere in your answer in 2022 did you testify that Ms. Reed told you he had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
In 2022, I testified that I was just told to be brief and give generalizations. she quantified many hours in the snow
All right,
when we were back.
let me try this again,
So,
sir. because
Mr. Yannetti, you're just saying 2022. Get to a
Of
date
course,
and a
yes,
place.
April of 2022, okay, before the grand jury. My question again, and I'm still seeking a yes or no answer from
To be fair to Mr. Yannetti, I think he did mention federal grand jury 2022, but
you, okay? Nowhere in your answer, in April of 2022, before the grand jury, did you testify under oath that Ms. Reed told you that John had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
Not in 2022 of April, no.
Okay. The next time you testified under oath was last year in 2024, correct?
Correct.
During that testimony, Mr. Lally asked you, oh, by the way, so
I was listening to the tail end of Emily Baker's stream, and she thinks that the reason why they're putting such a huge emphasis and focus on this hypothermia thing is because of like the lesser charges that the jury could potentially see Karen Reed leaving John O'Keefe out in the snow. That could have been really dangerous because they were both really intoxicated and he could have died in the snow. I'm sorry, but that's like a super, I don't know, that's like a reach for me. But that was her theory why the hypothermia thing is like a huge focus right now. Because I was a little confused too. I was like, oh, why? Because they even mentioned it, like I think in opening statements when they were talking about the hypothermia and like their other witnesses.
2022 is no mention of many hours, right?
I did not, and I was told to be brief on the grand jury scene.
But again, no mention of
Right.
many hours in 2022. Okay. Now, 2024, last year, Mr. Lally asked you, so firefighter Whitley, at some point, specific to your conversations with the defendant, Ms. Reed, can you describe sort of her demeanor or any observations you made in relation to that as you were speaking with her? And your answer was, yes. She was very upset. She kept asking if there was any chance. She kept asking us if we knew if the person ambulance 1 had transported was alive or dead, and we could not speak to that. She asked if somebody could be alive in the snow without a jacket for many hours, correct?
Correct.
So 2022, there was no mention of many hours. 2024, over time, now that's the first time that you mention the words many hours in your testimony regarding this case, correct?
Correct.
All right? And when you testified last year, you testified still that she was asking you a question about surviving in the snow, correct?
Correct.
So then we come to yesterday.
I can't wait to get to all the new experts. Okay, all the new experts. I heard the state also has a new crash reconstructionist. Let's see if they're going to sound more qualified than Mr. Trooper Paul.
On direct examination. Do you recall that Mr. Brennan yesterday asked you, before you left, were you having any conversations with the defendant, and you answered yes? You recall that yesterday?
Is that at the hospital?
I'm asking you yesterday, do you recall Mr. Brennan asking you, before you left essentially the scene, were you having any conversations with the defendant, and your answer was yes?
You're talking about I'm just trying to make sure we're talking about the same instance. Are we talking about when we left the hospital or when we left Fairview Road?
When you were at Fairview Road, leaving Fairview Road. We're talking about the same subject of what Ms. Reed supposedly told you or asked you. Okay? Mr. Brennan went into that with you.
So on the way you're talking on the way to the hospital in terms of left, when we left.
Well, before you left. He meant before you left the scene.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to clarify.
Again, same conversation, Mr. Whitley. I'm not
So,
trying to trick you.
Mr. Yannetti, he just asked for a point of reference. It's clear. Now go.
Understood.
Can you imagine getting into an argument with the defense attorney?
And Mr. Brennan said, can you share with the jury what those conversations were about? And your answer was, so we were talking, she was upset. She kept asking if there was any chance her husband could be alive even sitting outside in the snow without any coat for many hours. Do you recall that answer that you gave yesterday on direct examination?
Yes.
And that was the first time that you mentioned that she said, supposedly, or asked supposedly, about him sitting outside in the snow, correct?
I was just using phrases generally speaking. I wasn't at that point I was paraphrasing. I was not speaking verbatim to what she said.
Let's try that again. That was the first time that you mentioned that she claimed or asked that he was sitting outside, correct?
It could have been sitting, laying, being.
Let's try it a third time.
So
Was that-
just ask the question, not let's try it.
Sure.
Let's try it.
Was that the first time that you testified under oath that Ms. Reed said or asked about him sitting outside?
Are you asking me to clarify whether she used
I'm
the
not
word
asking you
sitting?
to clarify anything. I'm asking you whether that was the first time yesterday during direct examination that you mentioned that she asked about him sitting outside.
I'm sorry. I am very confused because I'm trying to figure out if he was being outside, sitting outside.
I'm asking you about Ms. Reed's statements, sir. That's all I've been asking you about. Her
Okay.
statements to you and your testimony about her statements to you. Was yesterday on direct examination the
I have like all my windows up on my screen, so I don't like messing with the windows. I mean, it's like not that annoying, but it's like if I press on a new window, then I have to get my other window back up again and this window back up again. So that's why I was just being lazy.
First time that you testified under oath that Ms. Reed mentions the words sitting outside.
I don't know. I'm just using. She might have said laying outside, being outside, outside.
Okay, so when you testified yesterday before this jury,
Yes.
that she mentioned the words sitting outside, you're now saying that that might not have been accurate, correct?
It could have been a different word.
Okay, but you didn't say it could have been a different word yesterday. You just left it as sitting outside, correct?
Yeah, that's what I said. Sitting.
All right, so now we get from,
Hey Laura, hey Lou, Yanetti's a jerk. I think this cross is going well. I love it when defense attorneys are this aggressive, but sometimes it might not go well with the jury. So if you're a member of the jury and you don't know everything about this case yet, which you shouldn't know, and we're in the beginning stages and you're just listening to a firefighter paramedic, you might be thinking this defense attorney is going way too fucking hard on a, neutral third party. So I don't know. For me, I'm like, ooh, this is like fires right here. It's like exciting for me. But if I was a juror, I might be like, damn, man, he's going so hard on the firefighter paramedic. Like, chill. But, I'm not there. I can't see the jury. I don't know if defense attorneys, they probably better read of the jury than I do. I don't know. Maybe, possibly. They can see their faces. I can't.
the grand jury with no many hours mentioned to
Oh, but hi, Laura. Hi, Lou. How are you guys doing today? Hello, hello.
get from, the grand jury with no many hours mentioned to questions about many hours to sitting outside to let's talk about what you said on cross-examination.
I object. Okay, the objection is sustained.
Sure.
The jury could also be confused as to why Yanetti's being really pedantic about like certain words and phrases. The jury just might be like, okay, why are we harping on this? Is it really that important? I think it's until later on they might realize it might be important, it might not be important. But as far as right now, they might just see Yannetti as just like beating the dead horse right now. Just had a Red Bull, so you're ready for the defense attorney energy. Hi, Rymania. How are you doing today? I can't do Red Bulls, man. Red Bulls remind me of the college days where you would drink Red Bull and vodka. So I'm like, oh, God. Too many bad memories.
On cross-examination, your words were, she said he had been out in the snow without a jacket on for many hours, correct?
She had asked if he had been outside, if there was any chance he could be alive, even though he was outside without a jacket for many hours.
So it always was a question, correct?
It was a question.
See, for us, that phrasing is very important because if Karen Reed had said this to this EMT firefighter paramedic guy, then the jury could think, oh, wait a second. So she does think that he was left outside in the snow for many hours. Is it because she left him there? I thought you said that she saw him go inside the house. So I think that's why they're like battling this really hard because they want to make sure that something like this doesn't stick to the jury's mind, that it's going to give the jury doubt on this guy's testimony. I was going to say something else. What was it? I forgot. If I was a jury, that fire would keep me awake. Yeah, if I was a jury, I would appreciate being awake too. Because I was like, if I was listening to like cross-examination, it was just like blah. Something like this is something you definitely would pay attention to.
She never said what you said on cross-examination yesterday, which was she said that he had been out in the snow without a jacket on for many hours. That was not a declarative statement by Ms. Reed, correct?
Objection. I'll allow that. Was that a declarative statement by Ms. Reed?
She asked if he could be alive without a jacket in the snow for many hours.
So again, it was a question, sir.
She asked me, and we were just trying to give her hope in terms of telling stories of hypothermic patients that could survive outside in the snow.
Okay, is there any redirect?
Briefly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think sometimes Janetti just has he gets really aggressive where he'll cut off the witness on the stand and they'll be like, yes or no? I said yes or no. So I wonder if he can like tone it down maybe just a tiny bit or something. Oh, that maybe will look less aggressive or seem less aggressive.
When you were...
All right, now we're back to redirect with Brennan. Redirect. All right, Mr. Brennan.
called to the grand jury, was the testimony as in-depth and as long as it is in front of this jury?
Not even close.
When you're recounting your memories of what happened, do you memorize word for word what you've said in the past?
Objection.
As to that form, it's sustained.
When you're recounting the past, do you record your statements personally?
Objection.
I'm going to let that one. Do you record your statements?
No.
Next question.
When you testified in the grand jury, page 90, line 15, and you said, the defendant told you, I'm upset if he dies, I want to die. And then you later testified last year, and you said, if my husband dies, I want to die. Do you notice the little differences between those phrases?
I do.
Is that you making up words?
No.
Is that you trying to help a case?
Objection.
I hope to God I never have to testify in any case, but I do kind of want to see what it feels like to be a witness in a case. To testify in the federal grand jury and then have to testify for a trial. And then maybe trial number 2, there's a mistrial, right? Because I want to know how, because I'm always like, man, why don't they just go back and look at their statements? Like, this is so easy. Just go back, look at your statements, and then just make sure that you stay in line with what your statements were in the past. But I don't know, man. I think I would fuck up too. I think when I'm on the stand, I think if I'm like nervous, you're like, people are watching you, you got a really good defense attorney grilling the shit out of you, or even if you have like indirect examination, right? I would still be really fucking nervous. I think I would still fuck up. Oh boy, I don't know. It's like I kind of want to try it out, but at the same time, I hope it never happens to me because I don't know. Testifying seems really scary. You were a witness in a trial before? What was the trial for?
The form that's sustained.
Are you inventing facts?
No.
Sir, when you were recounting what happened that day, are you using your best memory?
Objection.
Sustained.
When you were asked by the defendant,
Red Bull's the only thing I drink now. I've given up on coffee completely. Have you tried? Do we talk about the mushroom thing? I don't know. There's like this mushroom thing that people are switching to from coffee. I just can't. I don't like energy drinks. I don't know. I hate the taste of it. I don't like energy drinks. I just don't like the smell of it. I don't know. I just don't like it. But the thing is, I don't have a need for energy drinks, so that's probably like a huge factor as to like why I don't like care for it to begin with. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the smell of it. But oh, actually, hold on a second. I was talking shit about Red Bull earlier. Sorry. You guys ever had is it Jaeger and Red Bull? I think that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, Jaeger and Red Bull. It's like sweet and like syrupy and like bleh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Red Bull, I just can't do. Damn, the only thing I was a witness to was my own childhood trauma. Damn, same. High five, man. Hi, Auntie Niece. How are you doing today? You tried the weird mushroom coffee once. It wasn't your thing. They probably have different types, you know? But yeah, I'm just not a coffee person. I don't like the smell.
about how long, or someone out in the snow without a jacket for many hours. Do you remember that conversation with her?
I do.
Where were you during that conversation?
We were in the back of the ambulance.
Do you remember it distinctly?
I remember it distinctly. She was looking at me.
When you tried to give her hope and comfort, and you told her stories about other situations where people, maybe children, have fallen through the ice and had hypothermia, did you have that conversation with her in trying to comfort her?
I did.
Do you remember that conversation?
I do.
Did you necessarily share those conversations with the grand jury?
I don't recall if I did or I didn't.
Did you ever write that in your report?
No.
Is it something you typically put everything in your report?
No, we do not write. Generally, we only write patient complaint, what happened, and what they did, not their opinions or anything like that to what's going on.
Do you have any interest in the outcome of this case?
I do not.
How long have you been a firefighter for?
Since March of 2006, and an EMT since November of 2002.
Over 20 years.
Correct.
You said that you live near Kerry Roberts?
I do.
You've been to a block party for the kids where you brought the fire engine down?
I do.
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
When you're at that block party, do you ever step out and have secret meetings with Kerry Roberts trying to corroborate some conspiracy on their behalf?
No.
I'm going to allow that.
No.
Put your career on the line?
Objection.
Sustained.
No further questions.
Any follow-up, Mr. Yannetti?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Firefighter Whitley, you are all set, sir.
Oh man, Whitley's like, y'all better not call me again for trial number 3, okay? I'm done with this shit. Block party, put career on the line. Okay.
Let's play clip 5, Your Honor.
All right, y'all, we got another clip. What is this? April 13 clip. April 13, 2024. So this was in the middle or the beginning of her trial last year?
And his mother leans over the kitchen island and says to me, I think it looks like you got hit by a car. It looks like you got hit by a car.
All right, who's your next witness, Mr.
His mother testified yesterday saying that she never said that. So we don't know. We don't know.
Brennan.
Next witness is Jean DeMoulis.
Okay.
Who is this? Oh, okay. We're gonna have people who works. Okay, so the night that John O'Keefe was killed, or the morning night, they went bar hopping. So group of friends went bar hopping. They went to CF McCarthy, which I think she works at, and then they go to Waterfall. So basically, they just have two people who work at the two businesses. They're basically just going to testify, saying, like, "Yeah, we worked. This is our business." Blah blah blah. Because later on, they're going to show footage of Karen Reed and all their friends like drinking and stuff. So I don't think we really need to look at their testimony. Here's footage.
Your Honor, may I play just a small portion?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hey, Brian, how are you doing today? How's it going? Wait, what witness number was that? Whitley was witness number... Fudge me. What was he again? Witness number... Whitley, 5. Okay, Whitley was number 5. Ooh. Witness number 6. Employee. Clip. This is the CF McCarthy, I think. CF McCarthy.
Ma'am, I'm going to show you just some random shots from this video, but I want to know if you recognize it. Is this the inside of CF McCarthy's?
Yes.
I'm not
I don't think John or Karen are here yet, right?
asking if you have any particular knowledge or information about that night.
Yes.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what CF McCarthy's looks like?
Yes.
Has there been any substantive, significant changes to the inside of that establishment
No.
since this video was taken?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gilman. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're gonna have this person who works at the Waterfall.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'd like to move this in as an exhibit, please.
Okay. Ms. Giannetti?
No objection.
Thank you.
Exhibit 22.
With the court's permission?
Yes.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm going to show you just a brief clip. Okay, stop, please. Do you see that video?
I do.
I don't even know what's the point of you having surveillance when your video is that shitty. Like, what the fuck is this? Why does it look like this?
Does that depict the inside of McCarthy's? No. I'm sorry, the Waterfall? Yes. I'm trying to switch establishments on you. Back on January 28, 2022, does that look the way it looked then?
Yes.
Has there been any significant changes inside since then?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay, then we're going to hear from another one of John's friend, which I don't think we really get too much from his testimony, either in direct or cross-examination. We can listen to it, I guess.
May I?
Please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, good morning. My name is Michael Camarano.
Now, I think he did an interview that I watched recently. He thinks Karen Reed's guilty. Michael Camarano? Camarano?
Mr. Camarano, can I ask how old you are? I'm sorry.
Spell your last name.
Camerano.
And so if you could either move the microphone down a little bit or speak up or maybe...
It's that Ghost Adventures. You know, I was actually going to rewatch Ghost Adventures because I remember seeing it on... Wasn't Ghost Adventures on Cartoon Network or something like that? I don't know, but it's basically free right now on Amazon Prime. I was going to watch it just for the shits and giggles. The surveillance camera mirrors a vision of the patrons after the 9th or 10th drink. True.
maybe a combination of both, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask you how old you are?
48,
Where do you live?
Canton, Mass.
How long have you lived in Canton for?
Me and my wife have lived there for 20 years. Me and my wife have lived there for 20 years. We have 2 children.
How old are your children, sir?
My daughter is 17. My son is 14.
Did you know John O'Keefe?
Yes.
How did you know him?
I met John for the first time at his sister's day of benefit for his sister in 2013. I met John there for the first time. And then years later, Our kids got involved with sports together, and they became very close. As they became close, I became very close with John and his family.
Was your daughter close with John's niece?
Yes.
Was your son close with?
Yes.
Did you spend a lot of time together through sports and socially?
Yes, we did.
I want to take you forward to January 28th of 2022.
Okay.
Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Have you, without any discussion of what might have been said, did you have any discussions with John that day?
Yes.
Did you have a plan?
Yes, we were communicating.
At some point, did you decide that you were going to spend some time or go meet John?
Yes. That Friday, my daughter and his daughter, they got acceptance letters to school. So we wanted to get them together so they could enjoy the time together. And, just, go over like how it'll be so much fun, something new and different. Yeah, so we were going to meet up after I got out of work.
Was your daughter planning to go to a new school?
Yes.
Where?
Bishop Fan.
And how about his niece?
Same.
They both got accepted to
They
the
both
same
got
school?
accepted to the same school.
Was it a celebratory move?
Yes.
Did you have a plan to bring the children together so they could celebrate?
Yes, we did.
Poor guy's having a real hard time testifying. Yeah, he's getting a little emotional. So his daughter and John's niece well, John was taking care of her, so it could be considered his daughter as well. They got accepted to a school, and basically they just wanted to celebrate that night. That's why they went out on bar hopping, drinking, even though there was a blizzard coming. But here's the thing. I used to live on the East Coast, and we would go out drinking out in blizzards. Is it a smart thing to do? No. But that's what you do when you have blizzards. You go over to someone's house, you drink, you have fun, you do sleepovers and all that stuff. I remember this one time we had this like major blizzard coming, and then I invited all my friends to come over to drink. And this is when Pinterest was still kind of new. And on Pinterest, there was this like gummy bear vodka drink that you can make. It looked really fucking cool. Okay. So I got all my friends, we got these Haribo gummies, and we separate it by color. And then you put it back into a fishbowl, and then you separate it like kind of like a rainbow effect, right? It was very laborious. And by the time we were done with it, it was so fucking disgusting because we had the gummy bears in the layers. We poured the vodka in. And what ended up happening, it just turned to like a giant goop of like sugar. It was so fucking disgusting. Yeah, Haribo. I know, that's a mistake right there. Don't fucking use them Haribo gummies. Luckily, we did not have the shits that night because I only have one guest bathroom. But yeah, it was disgusting. Luckily, it was not drinkable. It was just like a chunk of, it was just like a lump of sugar. Just nasty.
And then separately, you were going to meet John and celebrate?
Correct.
Where did you drop your daughter off?
I dropped my daughter off at John. I went into John's. I was at the house with John and the girls, and we had a little celebration. Talked about how nice it's going to be, fun, change, different, meet new people.
And you celebrated at John's house before you went out?
Correct.
After the celebration with your children, did you and John leave?
Yes.
During that celebration, was there anybody there other than you, John, and your two daughters?
No. No. Karen was not there.
Was there anybody else there?
No, just the two girls, myself and John.
What was the weather like that night?
I was just thinking, what if Karen Reed got pulled over by law enforcement that night and then got a DUI? Wouldn't that be crazy because you were just hanging out with people who are part of law enforcement or family of law enforcement who was also drinking probably as much or even more as you? Wild. It's fucking crazy.
Right.
It was cold. It was not snowing yet.
Was there an expectation?
Yes, an expectation. Yes.
And what was that?
That there was going to be a big snowstorm coming in.
A storm was coming?
Yes.
When you left, did you leave in a separate car than John, or did you leave together?
No, we left together. John got in my car, and we were leaving. We were going to leave.
Where were the girls?
The girls were in the house, stayed in the house.
They were staying at John's house?
Yes, correct.
Where did you go?
We went to CF McCarthy's.
When you got there, did you know anybody who was there other than you and John?
At that time, no.
Did you spend time at CF McCarthy's?
Yes.
Were you drinking?
Yes.
Was John drinking?
Yes.
Alcohol?
Yes.
How long were you there for?
A couple hours.
While you were there, did anybody come and meet you that you knew?
Yes.
Who?
A friend, and then Karen came in.
The friend?
Yes.
What was the friend's name?
Kurt.
And then how long after you first got there was it that the defendant arrived?
I would like to say within an hour, so not 100% sure.
You said back home it was a celebratory mood. Was it still a celebratory mood at McCarthy's?
Yes.
When the defendant arrived, did she spend time with you and John?
I talked briefly to her, and her and John were mostly talking.
Okay. You didn't see any issues?
No.
It was a normal night?
Seemed to be, yes.
As far as you could see?
Yes.
And you saw John drinking?
Yes.
Did you see the defendant drinking?
I saw her with a glass, yes.
Did you leave at the same time that John left?
No, I did not.
When you left, Was John still at the establishment?
Yes.
When you left, was the defendant still with him?
Yes.
Why did you leave?
I left because I got a phone call. My son was playing hockey in the backyard, and he got hit with a stick and lost his tooth.
Oh.
Wait, what? Oh gosh. I mean, playing hockey before the blizzard coming out, losing your tooth. That sounds crazy.
Where did you go?
I went to my son's friend's house.
Do you know about what time that was when you went to see your son?
I would like to say 9:30, between 9:30 and 10.
You didn't go back to McCarthy's that night, did you?
No, I did not.
After you helped your son, where did you go next?
I went to pick up my daughter Madeline
Did you go?
at John's house.
Did you go in John's house?
No, I did not.
When you got to John's house, did your daughter come out?
No. We went to the side door and rang the doorbell.
And then what happened?
And then my daughter came to the door.
Where'd you go?
From there, we left and went home.
When you went home, had the weather changed at all?
It was cool. It might have been flurrying at that time.
No accumulation?
No.
You got home?
Yes.
Did you do anything significant when you got home?
Put the kids to bed, my son, and no, I went to bed.
What's the next thing you remember happening?
Waking up to, I missed some phone calls
Who were the missed phone calls from?
my wife and Karen.
What did you do?
I called my wife.
After speaking to your wife, what did you do?
I got in my car and drove to John's house.
About what time was this?
In between maybe 5 and 6 a.m.
What was your mood at that point?
I was panicked
Why did you go to John's house?
because I went to get Kaylee.
Did you know?
Stream Mountain's releasing a concern with the professional conduct. Yeah, last time we covered Karen Reed like a year ago, new people would come in and it would get really fucking unhinged. So I just didn't want to get to that level of like craziness. I just want people to just chill the fuck out. Just chill, guys. Just chill. That's it.
She was alone?
Yes.
How long did it take you to get to John's house?
Maybe 5-7 minutes.
When you get to John's house, what do you see?
I pull in the driveway. I see that the garage door is open. I go in through the garage door. I don't know if Kaylee was standing there. If the door, she came out the door, and I asked her, if she needed anything, she could get in my car and stay warm.
When you first saw Kaylee, what did she look like?
She looked distraught.
Did you try to help her?
Well, I think I just said everything will be okay.
Did she come with you?
Yes,
Where are you going?
to my house.
So what happens?
So we go to my house, and my daughter's up, and the two girls they were hanging downstairs, just hanging out, just being kids. And then, I don't know, a couple hours later, maybe, Paul called me and asked me to bring Kaylee home.
Did you know anything at that point?
I did, yes.
You did or didn't?
At that point, I did when Paul had told me.
So what do you do?
Asked Madeline and Kaylee if I'd say, Madeline, we come for the ride. I don't say anything to Kaylee, and we get in the car, and I start heading back to John's house.
And you didn't say anything to Kaylee?
No, I didn't. I just said everything will be all right. She had a feeling.
Why do you say that?
She don't want to go home.
Let's see what happens next.
So I pull in the driveway, and I remember Paul and Papa standing. I think they were standing at the side door, and we just embraced.
Did you stay?
No, not long. No.
Did you go back?
I was to the house. I went back to my house.
Did you go back to John's house?
I did the next day. Yes, I was there.
When you went back, were there people there?
Yes,
Many?
there was people coming and going.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Camarano.
Good morning.
This is quite painful for you to remember the events of January 28th, is it not?
Yes,
You were very close with your friend John O'Keefe, correct?
I was close with him. Yes,
And you actually met Karen Reed through John, correct?
correct.
After meeting Karen, you spent a good amount of time with both Karen and John, correct?
Correct.
As of
And I think it really helps that when the defense attorney, when they're beginning their cross-examination of some of the witnesses that are very close to John O'Keefe, I think it helps a lot and probably goes a long way with the jury to be compassionate before they begin their cross-examination.
January 28th of 2022, you had known Karen for maybe about a year or so,
Sounds correct.
and you'd see them especially on Fridays, correct?
Correct.
That would be sort of the day that you get together with both of them often?
Yes.
And of course, your children spent a lot of time with John and Karen, right?
Correct.
You entrusted both Karen and John with your kids.
Yes.
Sometimes your kids would even go on vacation with Karen and John, right?
They did go to the Cape, yes.
Sometimes you'd see Karen without John at your house or on a ball field.
Correct.
And your daughter in particular would sometimes spend time with just Karen without John, correct?
Correct.
Your daughter would sometimes go over to Karen's house in Mansfield when she lived there, correct?
Correct.
And obviously when your daughter would go to Karen's house in Mansfield, Karen would be the one in charge of caring for her, correct?
Correct.
And you were fine with that because you liked and you trusted Karen, right?
Correct.
And in your view, Karen was very good with kids, right?
Correct.
But you also had the opportunity to see Karen and John together, right?
Yes.
You saw how they interacted with each other over that year period that you knew Karen?
Yes.
You saw how they got along?
Yes.
And you never observed any arguments or bickering, correct?
I mean, they argued and bickered.
You had previously testified that you wouldn't even call it arguing, you just call it banter, right?
Yes. I mean, he would. I mean, no, he would get upset or like over if she bought expensive things for the kids.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
we will get to that. That would be the one thing that John would complain about, Karen buying like very nice things for his niece and nephew, right?
Correct.
Or he'd complain if Karen was taking his niece and other girls to get their nails done, like extravagances like that?
Correct.
And one specific memory you have is when Karen bought his niece a very expensive sweater, right?
Correct.
And you recall John telling you that he wished that she hadn't done that because he considered that to be spoiling the girl, correct?
Yes.
But it was very clear to you from your observations that Karen really, really liked John. I'm sorry, John really, really liked Karen, right?
Sustained.
He certainly never told you or even suggested he was thinking about or planning to break up with Karen, right?
No.
Okay, so with regard to that Friday night, January 28th, sir, the plan was for you and John to go to McCarthy's to have some drinks because there was a storm coming in, correct? And because of the celebration of the girls getting into Bishop Fen?
Well, yeah, we were going out. It wasn't a continuation of the celebration of the girls. We were going out to have a few beers as guys.
Okay. And when you were leaving the house, John asked you to move your car, right?
Correct.
Where was your car when John asked you to move it that night?
Actually, I backed up my car. We were leaving the driveway, and John asked me to stop so he could move his car.
I see. And he wanted you to move your car because of the storm coming in, and he wanted Karen to be able to pull her car into the garage, right?
Correct.
And that was really thoughtful of him, wasn't it?
Yes, extremely.
And it showed you that he was being chivalrous toward Karen that night, right?
Yes.
He didn't want Karen to be out in the heavy snow later when she returned to his house during the expected blizzard, right?
Sustained.
You took from that there was an expectation that Karen would be coming back to his house, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You had no inkling that day that anything was wrong between Karen and John, correct?
No.
Everything seemed fine between the two of them, right?
Yes, he did mention though that night that he didn't understand why Karen had a plumber go to the house.
Because he had somebody that could have done that work instead of paying for the plumber, right?
Well, yes. Okay.
But in any case, the plan was for Karen to meet up with the two of you, right?
Yes.
And she did show up to McCarthy's at about 8:30 p.m. or so?
Yes, I guess if that's the time.
And you saw an affection...
I'm sorry, what was the answer that you
If
said?
that was the time, I'm not sure about the timeline.
Okay. It was sometime after
Yes.
you got there. Right.
Correct.
But you do remember when Karen arrived, there was an affectionate greeting between John and Karen, right?
Yes.
You saw them kiss, right?
Yes.
You saw John put his arm around Karen?
Correct.
And you saw that Karen sort of nestled into his embrace?
Correct.
And when she did that, that's when he kissed her, correct?
Yes.
And they seemed happy to see each other, did they not?
They did.
That night they were affectionate,
Yes.
laughing,
Yes.
happy,
Yes.
like a normal couple?
Yes.
No arguments?
No.
You witnessed no bickering, no tension, correct?
No.
And during the month before John's passing, that January of 2022, you observed their relationship in your presence to be normal, caring, and affectionate, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
You were asked a number of questions about the relationship between John and Karen that night. Do you know what was going on behind closed doors other than what you saw?
I'll allow it.
No.
Do you know whether or not
From the last trial, I don't think a lot of people knew what was going on between John and Karen, except for that one friend that testified during that vacation that they took where she like witnessed it. Oh no, she didn't witness it. It was like with her sister, and she knew there was like some drama between that. And then maybe, I don't know, did Jen McCabe say anything with the relationship? I just feel like John was just kind of more of like a guy who just didn't really vent about his relationship to other people, to his close friends. He probably just kept it to himself. That was my understanding of it from last trial.
they texted each other that day?
No, that day, no.
Do you know whether or not there was any arguments that day?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Not to my, no, I don't know if they were, well, I don't know if they were arguing over the plot.
Hey, Rain, how are you doing today? What's up, Nicole? Hello. Hello, Hollywood Fish.
Plumber situation.
Do you know if there's any vulgarities that day?
No,
Do you know if there's any vulgarities that night?
no, not to my knowledge.
Do you know whether or not John was trying to end the relationship with Miss Reed?
Objection.
Do you know that, sir?
No,
Next question.
Do you know if there was any jealousy in that relationship?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I mean, I mean, Karen wouldn't let, I mean, they did everything together, a lot of things together, and I thought at times, yeah, you could see, you know, she didn't want other women around John. I don't know, not at that, but
Thank you.
Any follow-up?
Not very well.
All right, Mr. Camarano, you're all set, sir. I'll see counsel at sidebar for just a minute, please.
We at the sidebar. Sidebar. Hey, Sean, I'm doing good. How are you? The state is still presenting their case. We're not at the defense's side yet. A little bit of a hinge is okay. We can still talk about the feces expert.
Please.
This guy again? Do we want to listen to this guy? Is he the guy who just comes in and just talks about, oh, I looked through the phones? Hold on. I might scroll through this guy until we get to the text messages.
Again, please.
I'm sorry. Again, for the record, could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the record?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Nicholas Garino. G.
Does he count as witness number 9? If he already went? How do I do the numbering for this? Witness question mark? Witness number question mark. Nicholas Guarino again. I forgot what witness number he was. Hold on. What was he before? Nicholas. He was witness number number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Ooh. Okay, witness number 4 again.
Arino.
Thank you.
Sir, you mentioned yesterday that you downloaded
Okay, so he's gonna talk about the phone.
a number of phones, or you were involved between two parties on that last document. Can you also do?
Yes, you can. You can search by phone number or name.
Could you share with the jury what?
Okay. Jury, we're going to do.
And then they take a little breaky break. Then they come back.
So text messages between John O'Keefe and the defendant on January 29, 2022.
Yes. It also included the 28th.
Thank you.
Yes.
And in that compilation, did you put together or do you create or review a PowerPoint of those?
Yes, I did.
And what was the point of that?
Just to show the texts and calls in a chronological order, because that way you're not looking at two different documents trying to compare and contrast the calls, the text messages when each is coming in.
And did you begin that PowerPoint presentation with a call at 2:16:10 on January 28, 2022?
Yes, that's correct.
And other additional chats or text messages earlier that morning?
Yes, there's a handful starting around 9:45 a.m.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Handing you a folder, sir. Could you take a look at it? Let's know if you recognize what's in it.
Yes. So this is the bulk of this is the PowerPoint calls and text messages, and at the beginning there's the messages from before 2:16 in the morning.
I'd like to introduce this as an exhibit, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
For permission, I'd ask the witness to read the text messages from the morning hours, and then we'll begin the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you have
Okay, so he's gonna read the text messages from the morning hour and not show them, and then he's gonna show the other messages later. I don't know why. Just show the whole fucking thing. It's easier to follow along.
A hard copy of those for me.
It was provided. I'll see if you have another copy. The defense has a copy for you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
May we begin, Your Honor?
Please.
Could you first read the text messages from that morning to the jury?
Yes. Apologize if I misspell things or state things.
Don't misstate things.
Start time, all right. It's a little different than the format I had before. All right, this is from Karen Reed to John O'Keefe. You have really hurt me this time. This was sent at 9:49:20 a.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant. I'm sorry, this has been an issue with me for 8 years. It physically hurts me to see everyone else in their life do things for them, and I'm forced to always be the bad guy. This was sent at 10:02:56 a.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm not the same as everyone else. Most of the time I try to do what is healthy/smart for them. More importantly, I try to support you in what you need. You just lashed out at me and said terrible things. I don't know how you've gotten to this point with me when I'm just trying my hardest. You made your point and continue to beat me down. I have a lot going on too. Physically, I am falling apart and trying to get answers and help. 10:09:49 a.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. I am just your girlfriend. I am not a perfect parent. I'm trying very hard and sometimes treat them, nothing like I used to. 10:46 a.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant. I know. I'm sorry for lashing out. I'm just hurting and struggle daily with them. Always feel like I'm failing at this parenting thing. I wasn't built for this. 10:12 a.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. Kaylee isn't perfect, but everything wonderful about her is because of you. 12:21:36 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji is sent at 12:21:59 on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, it's true, I know she's her mother's daughter, but she wouldn't be so bright and successful if she lived with anyone else. 12:22:51 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, wow, Kristen just sent 2 back-to-back messages to not lose your faith in the kids. 12:31:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or in yourself, at 12:31:41 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, there's 2 emojis sent at 12:32:06 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, and there's 2 emojis. Life can pick you up sometimes. Please be happy with them and put away your frustrations for the rest of the day. And be so proud of yourself, JJ. That's 12:33:35 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, that's what bothers me more than anything. Should have sent Peg's or Sarah's W-2s. We are all equal guardians. 1:18:21 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, maybe you can call someone. 1:21:55 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, like who? 1:46:42 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what time are you coming here? 1:47:38 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, it's another emoji sent, 2:05:30 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't know what time, feel kind of out of it, just trying to clear my head, 2:06:07 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, he writes, okay, 2:06:25 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, text me when you guys settle in later, 2:06:44 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, sure, 2:06:58 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to, oh, no, it's cut off, yes, sir.
Yeah. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
That must be where the, so,
Would it be
sorry.
helpful if I take it out of the binder for you?
Can you imagine the look on Judge Justin Boresky's face if we have to do another trial? Oh,
I believe it, yeah, it goes to the next one, so I'll start. Yeah, sorry.
With the court's permission, we'll begin the PowerPoint.
Yes.
PowerPoint presentation.
At your leisure.
Okay. The phone calls, text messages, and then we'll start with the first slide. This is from the defendant to John O'Keefe. I feel pretty shitty about how this morning went down. I know you said sorry, but it really stung, especially when I've been trying pretty hard lately. I feel like a loser turning around, just coming back over after everything you said. 2:16, 10 p.m. on the 28th.
No, Sarah's not a child John is raising. Kaylee and I think Patrick?
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not sure what you want me to do. I said I'm sorry and I was out of line. If you prefer to stay home, I totally get it. 2:17, 16 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, things in my own life have been difficult too, you know. 2:17, 33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I know. 2:17, 40 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:17:45 p.m., the defendant calls John. The phone call is answered and they speak for 2 minutes, 22 seconds. 2:23:02 p.m., the defendant calls John. That's again answered at and they speak for 1 minute, 2 seconds. At 2:24:17 p.m., the defendant calls John and the call is rejected. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, tell me if you're interested in someone else. Can't think of any other reason you've been like this. 2:25:18 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, nope. 2:25:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, things haven't been great between us for a while. Ever consider that? 2:26:03 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:28:40 p.m., the defendant calls John. That call is rejected.
Mr. Greeno, can you explain to us the difference between not answered and rejected?
Yes, so if the call is not answered, that means the call rang out and goes to voicemail. If the call is rejected, that is someone actively hitting the send to voicemail button to disable the call, to stop it from ringing. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, kids are here, not in the mood to talk. 2:29:03 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so you're not into it anymore. That's fine, but I don't want to keep trying and you keep treating me like this. 2:29:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm trying to hug and kiss you this morning and you whack me in the face with a pillow. 2:29:59 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, last night you're basically like, yeah, what about when we talk about the future? So why don't you just admit you're not into so much anymore? 2:30:23 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not how it went down, but okay. 2:30:26 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please admit your head is out of the game with us? 2:30:52 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, sick of always arguing and fighting. It's been weekly for several months now. So yeah, I'm not as quick to jump back into being lovey-dovey as you apparently. 2:32:28 p.m. on the 28th.
Hey, Lauren.
At 2:32:47 p.m., the defendant calls John. That call is rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant, OMG, stop calling. 2:32:54 p.m. on the 28th.
My read from this, and we're not even seeing the whole story of it because you never know, like there could be more to these text messages, but Karen seems like the type of person who just wants to know what's wrong, fix it right away, and move on. And sometimes when you're like that and you're in a relationship with someone who just needs their space, it's really hard to kind of like reconcile that. Because I'm kind of like Karen, where it's like, I want to fix things right away. And the more that I marinate on this and the more that I feel like you're not talking to me, the more I feel like something bad's going to happen. I don't know. Like, that's how I am too. Like, I just want to fix it right away. And then sometimes, like, my husband, he just wants space. He just wants to just get away from me. He just wants time to process and he just wants time to just like think everything through before he comes back. And then we start like, you know, maybe clashing again. Because for me, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to think this through. I just want to just talk right now with you. And that's just a feeling I get with Karen and John. I think John just wanted his space. He just wanted Karen to just maybe like leave him alone, think about things, and then they can like maybe talk later on. And it seems like, you know, John had like his kids over, maybe they got out of school or something like that. But then Karen's like incessantly like calling him, trying to like fix things over text messages because she probably just wants to figure things out right now.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, then why would you start with me this morning? 2:32:58 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you're setting me up to fail. 2:33:05 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you started a number of fights from your end. 2:33:26 p.m. on the 28th. And John O'Keefe to the defendant, I've explained it a few times already, not doing it again. 2:33:30.
Yeah, and the sentiment that I get, John just seems tired. I think he just seems tired. He just wants to like time for himself. Shows a normal relationship with ups and downs. Yeah, I think that's possible. But I think, Karen was also trying to, I don't know. I think there was like some head games that the two of them were also playing as well, where Karen would try to use like other men possibly to make John jealous. And then John also wanted to keep Karen at like arm's length, didn't want to necessarily let her go yet. But then, like, I don't know. There was like some weird games that I was like detecting between the two of them, but I guess we'll get there in a little bit.
1 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so you're not into this anymore. 2:33:41 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not into fighting all the time, correct. 2:34:03 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, because I think John is trying to say it's not the fact that I'm like not into you. It's the fact of what a relationship has become, which is, from John's perspective, is them fighting and arguing all the time.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if you tell me you're interested in someone else, you will never hear from me again. You can have all the space in the world. 2:34:11 p.m. on the 28th.
And I think maybe Karen's Karen's paranoia is kicking in, where she's like, okay, well, there must be a reason why you're like this. Is it because there's someone else? Are you seeing someone? Are you cheating on me? What are you doing? What are you doing behind my back? And then to John, it just seems like, okay, I just use my space. You're overreacting. Like, we're fighting all the time. It's not that. I don't know. Because I'm sure that Karen Reed probably already went through John O'Keefe's phone to figure out whether or not he was in fact cheating, or if he was having a thing with Bella or the other chick that was at the vacation place, whatever. And I'm assuming they probably found nothing because that was never brought up in the trial. But I think John just wanted space, and Karen just had to respect that, for my opinion. Her keep on calling and her trying to get an answer out of him, it just pushes him more away. But as we see in this, it technically doesn't push him more away, because at some point they do end up hanging out together. I don't know. Like, I feel like they both love each other. He loves her, she loves him, but I don't know. I don't know.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, he sends an emoji. 2:34:19 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, then stop starting with me. 2:34:20 p.m. on the 28th. 2:34:29 p.m. the defendant calls John. He rejects the call.
Because in Karen's perspective, she's saying that he started the argument with her this morning, and then she just wants to know what's up, right? But throughout these text messages, it seems like she's the one who keeps contacting him, and he's like, I'm not really starting anything with you. You're the one who keeps saying that, if you don't want me, then tell me. If there's someone else, I'll leave you alone. And I don't think John just wants to deal with that right now. And to John, maybe that's not even the issue. It could just be the issue of just them arguing all the time.
Call. John O'Keefe to Karen, the defendant. I'm not answering. Stop calling. 2:34:42 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please answer after how you treated me earlier? 2:34:43 p.m. on the 28th. 2:34:54 p.m. the defendant calls John. That's rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Kaylee is right here. 2:35:02 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. You start a rager with me out of nowhere and then tell me you're sick of fighting with me. 2:35:41 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. I'm going to grab a drink in a bit. 2:38:14 p.m. on the 28th. 2:38:42 p.m. the defendant calls John. That call is rejected. The defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please answer? 2:38:52 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, no, Karen. Not sure why you need to announce that you're going. Not sure why you need to announce that you're grabbing a drink, but have fun.
See, when I read this text message, it seems like whenever they would get in arguments, maybe both sides would be playing some games or something. Where Karen's like, okay, well, I'm going to go out drinking. You don't know who I'm drinking with. I'm going to go and have fun. So I think that's why maybe John wrote this message. I mean, I'm reading into a lot into these like tiny little text messages, but that's just a feeling that I get. Both sides be playing games sometimes, and it's just something they did in their relationship. I'm feeling more from Karen though. Although I think like I sense a little bit in John later on.
39:46 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, seeing if you want to meet me later. 2:40:22 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please call me? 2:40:32 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, have to take him to the doctor. He has practice. 2:40:55 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, 5 minutes. 2:41:17 p.m. on the 28th.
Hey, Go Lucky, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for the resub for 28 months. Hello, welcome back.
At 2:43:01 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's not answered. At 2:43:45 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant. My father just walked in, 2:43:58 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, because I think to Karen, I mean, she's like in her 40s. She's been in this with this man for about 2 years. I think she wants to know what's up with the relationship status. You know, are we going to move on to the next phase, stage, whatever the fuck it is? And I think maybe to John, maybe he's a little bit hesitant with moving on to the next phase with Karen because he's got so much on his hand. You know, he's got 2 kids he's got to take care of. And it seems like they've been fighting for the past couple months. This might not be a future that he envisions.
The defendant to John O'Keefe. Okay, can you please call me for 2 minutes?
It's never 2 minutes. It's never 2 minutes. Whenever they say, can you just call me? We'll just talk for 1 minute, 2 minutes. Nah, it's never 2 minutes.
2:44:14 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Not right now. 2:44:23 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. I'm there when anyone else needs me. 2:44:26 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:45:32 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected.
Yes, I agree with you. These texts over chat, Lori texts any day, those have scarred my brain. That was resurrected when we read Chad's romance fiction love story. Well, it wasn't really fiction because I think it was literally a romance novel about how him and Lori met and had sex and loin fires and all that stuff. Like, oh, did she get a shut up ring? I hope not. I think shut up rings are the worst. It's like you buy a ring for this woman just because you want to dangle them for the rest of the, you know, however long you want to be with them with no intentions of getting married to them. Like, I don't know. The shut up rings are so bad. What was the date of the death? So it was like the night of the 28th going over to the 29th of January, 2022.
The defendant calls Mr. O'Keefe. Yes, John, you gave me utter grief this morning. I'd like you to call me for a minute. 2:46:16 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. I've been trying to get over the hump with is arguing, and now you tell me you're not into doing things. And you don't want to fight weekly, but fly off the handle at 8 a.m. with me, like you're setting me up to fail. 2:47:08 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, and then usually, like in a relationship, I don't know, if someone is flying off the handle randomly at 8 a.m. or it seems randomly, that means like they've got things on their mind and it's been stewing for a little bit. And then also, I want to point out that it's probably really hard because I don't know how old Patrick was during this time, but Kaylee's a teenager. I can't imagine it being easy for two, you know, people who are co-parenting and a teenager's involved. Like Karen Reed's been part of this relationship for 2 years, and then John has been raising the kids since like 10 years. But still, like, I don't know. I can't imagine it being easy having a girlfriend of 2 years, and then you're like expected both of you guys to raise like a teenager and then another child, which I don't know how old Patrick was. I don't know if he was like maybe in middle school or something. I think, was he in middle school, I think?
Defendant to John O'Keefe. I've been dealing with my own personal crisis over things I have zero control over. I'd like to lean on you too sometimes. Instead, I just hear everything I've done wrong. 2:48:34 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:56 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. At 2:51:13 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's rejected. 2:52:37 p.m., John calls the defendant. It's not answered. At 2:53:56, the defendant calls John. Again, not answered. The defendant, John O'Keefe, you seriously cannot pick up the phone for 2 seconds. 2:54:13 p.m.
Oh, but it's not for 2 seconds.
At 2:58:05 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's rejected. At 2:59:13, John calls the defendant. The call is answered, and they speak for 4 minutes, 59 seconds. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, why don't you meet me at Hillside at 4:30/5?
That's another bar, by the way, the Hillside.
3:08:55 p.m. John O'Keefe to the defendant sends an emoji at 3:10:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or whenever you get everyone settled. 3:10:35 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, like I said, doctor now, and he has practice till 6. If you want to go, start drinking, then go for it. 3:36:21 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, I didn't know the times of his practice. 3:36:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I just want to give you space at the house without me there. So rather meet you out than meet at the house. 3:37:01 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, yeah, well now there's a 72-year-old taking up shop on my couch. 3:37:36 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, it seems like John was also, I'm not sure what's going on with his 72-year-old. I think that's his father, maybe. It seems like John is like taking care of these 2 kids. One of them's a teenager. It's probably really hard to co-parent with someone that you're in a relationship with 2 years, and then you're also taking care of your parent. It's a lot.
The defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, that too. 3:37:46
really
p.m.
stressed.
28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, is he going to Collins? 3:38:23 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, not tonight. 3:38:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so do you plan on going out tonight? 3:39:01 p.m. on the 28th.
Hey, Lan.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Karen, I don't know. 3:39:17 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, you're like jonesing to drink, so go. 3:39:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well, after how this morning went down, I don't think I need to be back over there with you. Get frustrated at how I am with the kids. Has nothing to do with drinking. 3:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I am paranoid now that everything I do with them is problematic. So rather see you for a minute without it, kids around. 3:40:24 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what's your plan at 4:47:16 p.m. on the 28th?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's got a lot that he's dealing with right now, and then he's just getting text messages from his girlfriend saying like, "Okay, when do you want to drink? Let's go drink. Let's meet up. What's your plan? What do you want to do?" And he's like, "Listen, I'm just dealing with the shit that I'm dealing with right now. I got to take my kid to practice. I got to deal with my dad. Go to the doctors. I got to do this X Y Z. I don't know, whatever the fuck else he has to do." I think he's just, I think he's like feeling just really overwhelmed. I don't know.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, don't have one. 4:50:09 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, so still home. 4:50:26 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, yes. 4:50:45 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we just got home, waiting to see what Papa decides here, or else I have to get Patrick at 6. 4:59:45 p.m. on the 28th.
I don't know. Based on like the first trial, and I mean, we're only getting a little bit of information, but based off the first trial and the witness that we heard from, or even some of these text messages, I don't get the feeling that Karen Reed hated the kids or hated spending time with the kids, unless there's something that I'm forgetting, or you guys can remind me. It seems like she just wanted to spoil the kids, because maybe that's the only way she knows how to interact with kids, right? When you didn't raise kids that's of your own, and you're dealing with like some teenagers and like one that's like maybe preteen, it's like, well, what's the easiest way to bond with them? Spend money on them, right? That's probably just the easiest thing to do. And then it seems like John didn't like that. Like I said, it's probably really hard having these children that you're raising for 10 years that aren't yours, but still you're raising them for 10 years, and then you have someone in a relationship that you've been dating for 2 years who's also like kind of like meddling in with like how the kids are being raised as well or being treated. I know there was like a huge sore issue with John that he felt Karen Reed was spoiling the kids, and he didn't like that. Like she would like, take them out and buy them stuff like that. So I don't know if it was like, it made him feel like he was the bad guy in the relationship with the kids, because he would be like the parent. He would be the one that would be the enforcer of rules maybe. And then here comes in Karen just like buying the kids shit. I don't know. That could be a factor as well. Oh, hey, Patty Cat.
O'Keefe, okay.
I saw you. I don't know if it's, maybe there's another person with the same username as you, but I saw you earlier in a live stream. I don't remember which one. Either Law and Crime or maybe Emily Baker. There was some communication, as I recall. Karen totally blew a gasket about having to spend time with the kids. I don't remember. Maybe.
5 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant, John O'Keefe, okay. 5:01:55 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, so are you staying home or coming here? 5:02:23 p.m. on the...
See, now it's 5 o'clock. It's been, many hours later since they argued in the morning, and then 3 hours after, she kept trying to call him. I think at this point, I think he's starting to kind of just like process things, and he's like, you know what? Okay, I'm open to hanging out with her again. I think he just needed time to just chill out. So now he's open to hanging out with her.
28th.
5:46.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, waiting to see what you end up doing. I don't want to hang out at the house too much, like I said. 5:03:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I think it's clear me around the kids, I think it's clear me around with the kids around is slowly killing our relationship, and our relationship is much more important to me. 5:04:16 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. How can you have a relationship with this man if there's issues with your relationship with the kids? I feel like then there is no relationship between you and John O'Keefe. At that point, it just seems like you just gotta just exit.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, well, there's a blizzard coming, so we'll be inside all weekend. 5:04:19 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, it will be over by noon tomorrow. 5:04:44 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, don't think so. 5:05:27 p.m. on the 28th.
I think in trial number 1, they did mention what the argument in the morning was about. It was like something, wasn't it like over breakfast with Kaylee or something? Was it Karen spoiling or doing something? Or was it her making breakfast? Like, it was like something like that, but I don't remember. If you guys remember in the chat, let me know. I like vaguely remember, but nothing's really sticking.
The defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't want to keep having this constant conflict of the dynamic of the four of us. The harder I try, the more it kills our relationship as a couple. It feels like utter shit to be in that position. Rather just meet you out for drinks when you figure out what your night looks like. 5:06:45 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, well, I have no idea what's going on, so do what you want. 5:07:34 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, need to figure out what everyone here is doing. All I know now is Madeline is coming over. No clue about Patrick yet, or if Papa is planning on hanging it for a few more hours. 5:09:29 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well, when you know the story and if you want me to come up, let me know. 5:12:36 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, no, Karen, you decide what you want to do. 5:13:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I know your heart isn't in this anymore. I felt it for a while and especially lately. I'm willing to try more, but not if you approaching the point of indifference. If you want me to come up and you can head out for a while, then say so when you know what your father is doing. 5:14:23 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh, was that what it was? He was upset for Karen for buying Dunkin' Donuts for Kaylee? That seems like it might ring a bell.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, you come up and I head out, really? Emoji. 5:15:48. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I've told you already, I don't bounce back as quickly as you do after we have a battle. 5:16:52 p.m. on the.
And see, I think this text demonstrates that he just needs space from her. That maybe he doesn't want to meet up and then quickly solve their issues, talk it out, or, you know, meet up again and act like everything's okay. I think he just needed his space.
On the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, head out together with an emoji. 5:17:49 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or meet out. 5:17:54 on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, gonna send Patrick to Collins tonight. They're picking him up around 7. Mike may hang out too when he brings Matt over. So why don't you just come over? 5:19:42 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, Mike doesn't want to go out for a bit. 5:20 p.m. on the 20th.
Oh God, for the kissing thing, did John see that? Did him and Karen fight over that? Or did he not end up knowing about that? Does anyone remember?
28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I would like to, been a shit day from the jump. 5:20:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, probably 5:20:39 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I just got sober an hour ago. 5:20:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'll text you, hang with Mike for a few. I don't need to butt in. Text me if/when you think you may head out. 5:25:12 p.m. on the 28th.
So Mike's the guy who was just testifying earlier, the friend.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you send me Tim Zoll's contact info, please? 5:26:38 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I paid the last bill, 5:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you didn't have to do that, thanks, 5:27:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, are you really not going to accept my friend request? 5:32:33 p.m. on the
Kind of an interesting time to bring up this friend request thing. But okay.
28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji on what, FB? 5:33:01 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, we've been going out for 2 years. 5:33:20 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, so my impression was, wait a second, did she add him on Facebook 2 years ago and then he never accepted it throughout their relationship? And then she's going through Facebook right now trying to like see what he's up to, you know, to see who he's friends with, and then like realize, why the fuck did he not accept my Facebook request? But then we get a message from John saying this.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, I haven't gone on. You defriended me over a year ago, I believe.
See, this is why I think Karen be playing games, man. Like, defriending people, like, I don't know, maybe they got an argument and she's like, I'm defriending you on Facebook, and then
33:48 p.m. on the 28th.
I don't know, unless he did something really bad and her intention was to for real break up with him, then maybe I can understand why she would unfriend him on Facebook. But if you got into like a little like, you know, tit and tat, and then like you unfriended them just to be dramatic in their relationship, like, oh god. Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, Carrie texted that they're headed out in a bit. 6:05:29 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, okay, 6:14:55 p.m. on the 28th.
Did they read these out last time in the trial? They read text messages, but I don't remember these messages. They read the text messages about the argument, about the niece and nephew, but I don't remember the Facebook thing. I don't remember the plumbers thing that's going to come up later on.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, she's going to let me know where. 6:17:51 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, so you're going to meet them 6:18:12 p.m. on the 28th.
Listen, my psycho ass back in my 20s would have grabbed his phone and accepted the friend request for him. But we've changed now. We've changed now, okay? This is Reform Corgi.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, just presenting it as an option. Wouldn't mind hanging out with them for a drink. 6:19 p.m. on the 28th. Sorry.
Hey, Visenya's Revenge. How are you doing today? What is your name from? Because I feel like I read a book recently where the character's name was Visenya. Is it Poppy Wars? Is it from Poppy Wars?
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, is Mike over? 6:27:26 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, yes. 6:29:45 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, sounds you're like good with getting together tonight. 6:31:32 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh, Visenya. It's from Song of Ice and Fire. One of the dragons? Or one of the Targaryens? I know I read it somewhere. The sad status on Facebook with the no context sounds like my sister. Those like vague status updates. Oh my gosh, dude. When I used to be fighting with my like boyfriend back in the day, it would be like the AIM messages, you know? Like, you know how you could do like away messages on your AIM? Drinking for the night, ... But you don't know with who. Going out to a party later. Like, meanwhile, I'm just at home watching fucking anime. I don't know. Like, those cryptic messages, just like to play games with people was like, dude, it was fucking wild, okay, when you're young. But, you know, let's face it. Teenagers, when you're in your 20s, you know, you be doing shit like that, okay? Just to try to, like, get a reaction out of the other person. But if you're doing that in your 40s, oh, man, ain't nobody have time for that. It's too much drama. That's too much drama.
When the defendant to John O'Keefe, was hoping after this morning you'd be interested.
Oh, and the best part is when you would reconcile and get back together, and then you would have a catch-up. So you posted this message. What did that mean? Who were you with? What were you doing? What were you doing this past 24 hours? Yeah, it's exhausting. The first Targaryen queen. Oh. Okay. Okay. And then you delete your own profile photo. I'm so glad I'm out of that stage. I know. I think it's just because when I was younger, growing up, I used to watch a lot of Thai drama. I thought relationships were supposed to be that dramatic. I didn't know that that's not healthy. That's fucking batshit insane. But that was basically my model for how relationships should be. The more dramatic, the more they care. The more passion it is, the more love there is. You know, that's not true. That's not true at all. You can have a relationship where it's like just chill. It doesn't mean they don't love you, you know. It doesn't mean that like, you know, that your relationship sucks or anything like that. It just means like you're just like mature people and you're just chill. It doesn't have to be crazy and dramatic and jealousy and like, dude, fucking wild. It's complicated. I want to know, what do the young people do nowadays? Because there is no status. Oh, maybe Twitter, I guess. You could do like updates on Twitter. Because I was thinking like there is no status updates on like Instagram. Well, I guess you could post cryptic stuff on your Instagram story. I briefly did an old friend from the school days that ended by him getting another girlfriend. He was almost giddy to be the first to block. So immature. I only block scam numbers. Grown adults don't do that stuff. I will say though, if you're the type of person who, after you break up and you have a tendency to stalk slash spy, to check up what they're up to, and that shit fucks you up emotionally, then I think it's okay to block them. Because if you know you can't control yourself, then you better check yourself, okay? just block them. Just block them. Because I had a friend that would go batshit crazy checking up on her ex like months, years later, and I'm like, dude, you just need to just block him. Like, don't check up on him, you know? I don't know. That shit drove her nuts. Oh yeah, you can poke people on Facebook. Oh, you just unlocked an old memory in my brain. My synapses are firing right now. Oh my gosh. Wait, that's not a thing anymore, right? Oh, dude, I remember that. Oh! You would get poked by like people who just like wanted to just like, I don't know. I feel like it was always a way of like, hey, I'm interested in you, but I don't want to DM you directly, but here's a poke. And if you poke me back, then maybe we'll engage into a conversation. Instagram used to have a thing where you could see your friends' likes. Can't you do that now? I thought you could do that now.
When the defense of John O'Keefe was hoping after this morning you'd be interested in smoothing things over with me. 6:32, 24 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, Karen's like, I want to fix this now. I want to know what's going on. I want to make sure we're good so we can move on. And John's like, nah, man, I don't want to do this right now, Karen. Leave me alone.
John O'Keefe, the defendant, told you to come over, but you insisted on meeting me out somewhere. 6:33, 44 p.m. on the 28th.
Well, yeah, because Karen's afraid that if she goes over and she starts interacting with the kids, you might. What did she say again? Throw the panhandle? What? What's the phrase again? Flip the panhandle or something? Go off the panhandle?
The defendant to John O'Keefe, Mike is a little off with me for a while now. I've said that multiple times. 6:34, 34 p.m. on the 28th.
Also, and I get it from Karen's perspective. If you're gonna handle some relationship stuff, you don't want to do it when there's other people there. Okay, you want to make sure it's just you and that other person. That way, when you're expressing your feelings, you don't have to contain it, and you could be a little bit unhinged or off the rockers. I don't know. I think she just wanted to talk it out with just John 101, and she didn't want other people nearby, which I think is okay. But he's like, no, just come over. Just come over. I don't want to go to the bar with you. Just come over.
From John O'Keefe to Karen, the defendant, time to get over it, Karen. He's fine. He was fine the other night when he came by.
Yeah, why wouldn't Mike like her? It seems like when Mike testified in the stand, he didn't have any issues with her. But maybe there was something that went down between Mike and then, or maybe Karen was just being paranoid.
9 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, where are you meeting them? 6:39, 28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't have plans with them. She just said they're headed out in a bit and will text when they land somewhere. 6:39, 52 p.m. on the 28th.
The intervention. Have you guys ever thought about planning an intervention for a loved one, a friend, or family member, someone that you knew, maybe a friend? I'm trying to think. Do we ever have an intervention? I feel like I have before. Have we ever had an intervention? I feel like we have. I don't remember. The thought of going to a club makes me tired. Same. they aren't chasing after you when you storm away, then they don't care. Full House taught me that. Oh my goodness. That's how I used to feel too when I was young. Like, it had to be dramatic. You had to like stomp away and they had to like chase after you. And then no matter what, you would have to say no and act like you don't care. But like, yeah, too much shit.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if you want to go out with Mike solo, that's fine. Just let me know. 6:40, 17 p.m. on the 28th.
Flip the lid. Oh, thank
From
you.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, I already told you what you should do. I'm not going to keep doing this. 6:41:07 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I asked to let me know if you guys are going to head out. I haven't been out for drinks this week and had a shit week and a shit day. And I dread Kaylee or Pat is going to get chatty with me the second I walk in, and that is going to irritate you. 6:43:21 on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Pat is leaving, Kay is with Mad Cam. 6:44:02 p.m. on the 28th.
All right, so no kids.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'll text Chris then. 6:44 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're headed out shortly. What's your plan, Karen?
See, look, it's been about 11 hours later. John has had time to cool down, deal with his family stuff, and now he's like, he wants to hang out with Karen. He's open to hanging out with her. Now, I think, to me, though, I think it's really weird, or I hate it when this happens. Say you get into like an explosive argument, right? Things aren't resolved then at that time. You try to resolve it. The other person doesn't want to resolve it. And then the next time you see that person is with a group of friends, you got to act like everything's fine. You got to act like everything's cool, chill, that you're happy, you're good. You know, you don't want to fuck up the mood and stuff like that. But it's until you wait until you're one-on-one with that other person is when you're probably going to start saying, so about this morning, and then start talking about the fight all over again. I don't know. I think that's what happened. I think Karen wanted to hash it out with John. John didn't. And then Karen goes out. She's with John and his friends. And she's like, well, fuck, I can't, argue with John now because, we got to act like everything's cool. I don't want to ruin the mood. But the moment that John and Karen got into the car, I think that's probably when the fight happened. It blew up or something. And then that's why, they were arguing on the driveway of 34 Fairview. And I don't know if and also when you throw alcohol into this, it makes it 10 times worse. Like, when you're simmering, when you're stewing on something that fucking bothers you and you're fucking drunk as hell, yeah, I think you're gonna be more prone to being a little bit more inflammatory when you're bringing up this argument. And maybe that's why, initially people saw the SUV sitting in the driveway for a little bit because they were arguing.
7:13 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, do you want to join? Do you want me to join or no? 7:37 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, yes, wasn't sure if you were meeting the Currans. 7:04 p.m. on the 28th.
Okay, I like that. She's like, hey, do you want me to join you? Yes or no? And he's like, yes. Good. I like direct.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, they are not out drinking yet. 7:40 p.m. on the 28th.
They needed reconciling or a breakup. They needed to not regroup when everyone was going to be shit-faced drunk. The next time they see each other, they both should have been sober and not around other people because it seems like this was a huge fight that happened in the morning. Yeesh.
Defense to John O'Keefe, where are you headed? 7:22 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, trying to decide maybe McCarthy's. 7:48 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, because right now Karen's goal, her only goal is just, okay, well, I'm going to do whatever it takes to meet up with John. Okay, I'm going to act like everything's chill, everything's good. I just want to meet up with him because hopefully I will be able to talk it out with him and then we can reconcile things. And I can know what's going on with the relationship and why he blew up on me. But man, I would hate to feel that way. Let's say he was ignoring my calls and maybe we talked a little bit on the phone, right? But for 12 hours, I'm trying to reach out to him. I'm trying to reconcile things. It doesn't really happen. And then I got to spend 4 fucking hours with him and his fucking friends and act like everything's okay. I would be so fucking annoyed. I would be so annoyed. I don't know. I'm projecting here, but that pent up annoyance would just maybe explode at midnight when I finally get one-on-one time with the other person. I don't know. That's how I would feel. If I was younger and I just felt like this relationship wasn't going anywhere and I wanted to figure out what the fuck was happening, but I'm not getting direct messages. I don't know, that shit would drive me crazy.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay then, let me know where you decide. I'm still down in Enfield. 7:21:50 p.m.
But that's me doing a lot of projecting, though. For those of you guys who are very different in relationships, you guys probably maybe won't see it that way. And drive him over. We'll see what the state says. I mean, trial number 1, we were very confused and lost as to what happened to John. We weren't entirely convinced because their expert witnesses weren't really the greatest. It was a shit show. I don't know.
On the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, text me when you leave. Still waiting on McKinney's. 7:22:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm having issues with my hot water, so had to text someone to take a look. 7:24:11 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji, you trying to piss me off.
See, okay, this is why I think that games are being played in this relationship in the past. I mean, we already know what happened with Karen and what was that guy's name again? The guy, the kiss, the ring camera thing, and there was that awkward like texting between the two of them. The other fucking dude, Brian Higgins. Yeah, Brian Higgins. So we already know when Karen was with Brian Higgins. And I'm sensing that maybe Karen in the past would try to get John jealous, or maybe John is a jealous person, or maybe a combination of both. But the fact that Karen Reed is trying to get a plumber to fix her hot water during, before a blizzard is about to come, and the first thing that John says is, "You're trying to piss me off," that's very fucking confusing. But if there's context that maybe she uses other guys to try to get John jealous, and this is a common theme, maybe that's why he's sending this message.
7:25:35 on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, hope your plumber buddy that you texted is hot. 7:26:24 p.m.
What does that mean? You texted. Does he not believe that the plumber buddy is really coming in to plumb, or does he think he's coming over to plumb other pipes?
On the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, nope, my shower only got lukewarm and now my sink won't run hot at all. The plumber I used is right down the road. 7:26:27 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh, God. Today was a bloodbath for the defense today, period. Are we making period jokes? Hello, handsome devil. How are you doing today? John Zach could fix her hot water. I think it's a problem. Yeah, but like, if you got into this explosive argument with your SO and it hasn't really been resolved yet, I wouldn't want to be asking them and, the dad to come over to fix my hot water either. I would feel weird. It would feel like you're asking for too much. I would wait until the relationship is good and then maybe be like, oh, hey, by the way, my hot water's fucked. Like, do you guys want to come over and take a look at it and fix it? I don't know. If I was Karen, I probably want someone to come look at it too, just in case, because she's not even sure if she's going to be staying at John's tonight. I mean, John is basically saying that like, oh, it's going to be a blizzard. You're going to be fucked. Like, you should stay over until Monday. She thinks that the blizzard will be calm by the time it's like afternoon the next day. So like, if she thinks that like her and John are not going to be on good terms and that she's going to end up being at her home, I would want hot water as well. I wouldn't come home to like lukewarm water. Oh my God, it's the worst. When I moved into this house, 2 months in, our hot water heater fucking broke, okay? And I thought I was being scammed by the plumber because the guy was being really fucking shady. He was doing some weird shady shit, and he broke something, and then he wanted us to pay like $1,000 to look into it instead of just looking into it himself. And I was like, I don't want you to do my work. Like, get out of here. But the reason why I had to replace it ASAP is because my family was coming over to visit in like 2 fucking days. Otherwise, I would have just been like, I'm just gonna suffer with lukewarm water. But anyways, it sucks. Yeah, if your hot water heater tank thing's not working, taking showers is not fun. Washing your hair, not fun. Very cold, especially during the wintertime.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I turned that temp thing in the basement all the way up. 7:26:52 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, check the hot water heater and see if it's leaking. 7:26:52 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, it's not. 7:26:59 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, don't do that. 7:27:01 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, is the pilot lit? 7:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I was trying to get my shower hot. 7:27:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yes. 7:27:14 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, don't turn it up. Don't turn it all the way up. 7:27:26 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, it will burn out. 7:27:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I had this issue twice before and it wasn't a disaster. I just can't remember what the cause was. 7:27:41 on the 28th.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I mean, Karen could be fucking with John and to try to make him jealous, but I just don't see what's the point, because it seems like her goal was to meet up with John, and then when they're finally about to meet up, then she's like, "Oh wait, fuck, I have this hot water issue that I'm waiting for this guy to come over to fix it." To me, it just seems like, I mean, she could be playing games like that, but it seems like, I don't know, this hot water thing seems kind of legit, because I think her ultimate goal was to meet up with John. And then when the time came for them to meet up, she's like, "Oh, I got this hot water thing."
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, just turn it back to where it was and get over here. 7:28:08 p.m. on the 28th.
See, and I think maybe there is a little bit of jealousy coming from John. I don't know, because I think he really doesn't want this plumber to go over there. He wants, because now he's like, "Okay, Karen, come over here. Come hang out with us."
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't want to come home in a blizzard and then really be up shit creek. 7:28:53 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, so you're going home tonight. 7:29:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or tomorrow or whenever. I've had a chill all day since my shower. 7:29:45 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, it's going to snow all day tomorrow, no driving. 7:30:05 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're headed to McCarthy's. 7:41:29 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, let me know if you end up leaving. 7:41:57 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, why? Now you're not coming. 7:42:27 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, I wonder if John's getting a little concerned about this plumber friend of hers.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm waiting for the plumber. I actually think he's in the driveway. 7:42:56 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're taking Mike's car, so I'm relying on you for a ride home if he leaves. 7:43:10 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I feel like there's other people that could also give him a ride home, or you can take an Uber, you know. Maybe it's just an excuse for Karen to really get her ass over there and not hang around and wait for the plumber. Dumb question. Why are you going out into town when a blizzard is expected? Pick up a bottle and a pizza. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if it's just an East Coast thing. Like when I used to live in the East Coast, we would do the same thing. A blizzard's coming. What do? Let's go fucking drink. Let's go hang out. Like, I don't know. It was like whenever it was just like a fun, because I guess like, you know, that the next day things are going to be closed. You're not going to go to work, and people just love drinking. We would do the same thing. Although, granted, I was like in my 20s though. We would go to the local bar. We would go drink. We would have sleepovers, drink. But yeah, now I think I'm way too risk adverse, because I don't want to be on the fucking road with other people. You know, I don't want to die in a car accident. I don't want to get in a car accident. But yeah, I think it's just what people do. It was a fun thing to do. You got something crazy happening. All right, let's fuck it. Let's go out drinking. Or hurricanes too. Yeah, I remember when we would be expecting hurricanes, you know? What do normal people do? They probably, or sorry, not normal people would do, but what do smart people do? They probably hunker down. They probably make sure they have plenty of water, food, all that stuff. But like, you know, for hurricanes, it'd be like, okay, well, let's have a party. Let's go drive out, you know, let's go do stupid shit. Like, I don't know. But then again, I can't speak for people who are grown-ass adults in their 40s. You know, I was like in my mid-20s doing that. So I don't think, being in my 30s now, I don't know if I would do that shit, because that doesn't sound very smart or safe. I don't know. I'm very risk-averse in my age.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he's not going home after. 7:43:27 p.m. on the 28th.
Right. You're always hoping it will get better. And then you always downplay it. Like whenever they say, oh, a blizzard's coming, you know, sometimes you downplay it. Say like, it's fine. I got snow tires. That can be a big deal. It'll be fine.
John O'Keefe to defendant, 8 o'clock on a Friday, emoji, 7:43:31 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, you may have to get Michael, 7:43:46 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, you have a plumber coming over at 8. Knowing me and Papa could have handled it. Good luck. 7:44:36 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I have always told you I will not put either of you out of your way the way everyone else in your life does. I knew it wasn't working right when you were at the doctor's with Kaylee, and I knew neither of you could get here. And this guy Richie fixed it last time, whatever it was. He was supposed to be here at 5. 7:48:01 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, but the question is Richie hot? Tell me more about Richie.
From the defense to John O'Keefe, if it's not a quick fix, I'll tell him to forget it. 7:48:20 p.m. on the 28th.
I feel like with plumbing, it's never a quick fix. I don't know, man. Like plumbing, it's just it just sounds like a fucking headache to me.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, if you need a new water heater, don't let him do it. 7:55:04 p.m. on the 28th. I just want to make sure nothing is wrong / will go wrong with when I'm not home. 7:55:44 on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he's not a scammer. Half the quick stuff he doesn't even charge me for.
I wonder if it's because she's hot. I'm just kidding. Maybe he's just a really nice guy. Could be a nice guy plumber. I don't know. But I could see that being as like a comment that could poke the bear. Like, oh, he doesn't even charge me for half the stuff. And then John's thinking, why doesn't he charge you for half the stuff? I don't know.
7:56:06 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he just put the toilet seats on crooked.
Okay, if you're a plumber and you can't even put the damn toilet seat on right, I don't know if I want you plumbing my house.
7:56:28 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh, hell no.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, status 8:09:02 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, still here with an emoji, 8:09:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, said he's got to go to HD and probably be back mañana, 8:23:50.
I believe HD is probably Home Depot since we're talking about plumbing. If you're a plumber, if you're a contractor, you live at Home Depot, okay? Or if you're a new homeowner, you fucking live at Home Depot and Lowe's.
6 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, so 8:24:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, an emoji, 8:25:02 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, just trying to figure out if I need to be here, 8:25:51 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant.
How far is Mansfield to Canton? I think I may have done the no, we actually calculated. Oh, it was like Karen Reed's parents' house to Canton, how long that drive was. It was like 45 minutes or 30 on regular conditions, but I think like in the snow it was like 45 to an hour or some shit like that. Is Mansfield, is it relatively kind of close to Canton?
What does it need? 8:26:01 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't know. He showed me some pieces that was all rusted. An emoji. I don't understand half this stuff. 8:26:42 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh, 20 minutes drive per Google Maps. 20 minutes drive. Where's Canton at again? Oh, there's Mansfield. Mansfield, Canton. How far is it from Boston? I kind of want to do oh, Boston's up here. I've never been to Boston before, I don't think. I was just randomly thinking about places that I haven't been in the U.S. I want to go to Boston. Should we go visit Canton? Hopefully I don't get into trouble with law enforcement there, though. I'm just kidding. I'm a good civilian.
John O'Keefe to the defendant on the water heater, 8:26:59 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yes, 8:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, tell him to leave it. I'll take care of it Sunday or Monday, 8:28:30 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, it's okay. I can either meet him here or just shut off the alarm, 8:28:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he used to work here while I was at work, 8:29:02 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, does he realize it will be whiteout conditions tomorrow a.m., 8:29:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, but he lives right down the road, 8:29:47 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Karen, the storm is going to be intense, can't drive, 8:30:19 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well, if he can't, he can't, 8:30:36 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'll do it Monday, 8:30:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I better not still have this problem on Monday, 8:31:22 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, you plan on being there, 8:31:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I too know I can take a hot shower here if I need to, 8:32:14 p.m. on the 28th. Figured you'd be, from John O'Keefe to the defendant, figured you'd be in Canton until Monday, 8:32:32 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'm getting off my phone. Let me know what you're doing. 8:32:54 p.m. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. I think the four of us together is toxic to this relationship. Would like to limit it. 8:33:16 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. You said so yourself for probably a year now. 8:33:52 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe John was like, maybe he laid some boundaries between the interaction between her and the kids, and maybe she wasn't respecting it. But I don't think she was doing it out of malice. She probably just wanted to, I don't know, take care of the kids the only way that she knows how to. But she probably just wasn't maybe like respecting his boundaries, or maybe she was like, I don't know. Like I said, I can imagine like, you know, you've never raised kids before, and then you're in a relationship, then all of a sudden, boom, you got a teenager, and then you have like, you know, a preteen that your significant other is raising.
John O'Keefe to the defendant. Blizzard tomorrow. Nobody is going anywhere. 8:33:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. Maybe I'll come back late tonight. Bad snow is in the early a.m. 8:35:14 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. I'll head up there in a few min. Let me know if you leave. 8:35:26 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant. An emoji. He says sure. 8:35:34 p.m. on the 28th. And that was the last of them.
We're almost done, sir.
And you can feel free to stand.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Messages and phone calls between John O'Keefe and the defendant on January 28, 2022.
Yes, that was.
Aside from that compilation, are there other text messages and phone calls that you've reviewed between John O'Keefe and the defendant that evening, January 28, 2002, going into past midnight, January 29, 2022?
Yes, there's more text messages.
And those text messages and phone calls, are they a separate compilation from this?
Yes, that's correct.
At this time, I'd ask us to release Trooper Garino and recall him at a later date.
Yes. All right. There's no objection, Mr. Alessi, correct?
No objection.
That's kind of interesting. Recalling witnesses that way, the state's presentation and timeline are a little bit more cohesive than last time. Because last time was such a shit show. We had so many lingering questions about so many things, and sometimes the questions weren't even answered.
Yes. All right.
Or if they were answered, it was done in such an anticlimactic way. Unclimatic way? No, anticlimactic way.
Thank you very much, Trooper. We'll see you another time.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please leave it again.
Is this the time for me to see counsel at sidebar? Okay.
Sure, man.
Yes.
I'm going to introduce exhibits or clips 7 through 11.
You think she was being disingenuous maybe towards herself? She hated being with the kids, but tried to pretend not to be like that, glossing over it? What makes you think that? Text messages? There were more text messages that was in the other trial, but I guess maybe we'll get there soon. The gallery is all in there in suits. Looks uncomfortable. All right, y'all. I think we got more interviews.
34.
Thank you.
With the court's permission, could I begin with clip 7?
Yes.
Hold on a second. 2020 interview. September 27, 2023. All right, 2020 interview. September 27, 2023. All right, what we got?
When you walked out of the bar, how many drinks had you had?
I had probably about 4. And not 4 that I completed either. I didn't drink maybe more than a few sips at the waterfall.
And 4 drinks you felt fine to drive?
Yep.
Clip 8, please.
Okay.
Wait. When you walked at the bar, how many drinks did you have? I had probably about 4. Not 4 completed either. I didn't drink maybe more than a few sips at the waterfall, she said. Waterfall. All right, interview with Gretchen Voss. Gretchen Voss. Fuck. Oh, look. Look what I got for my garden. I got my, I had some of my roses that are about to fall off soon. I just put them in cups just so I can randomly just pick them up and just smell them throughout the day. Although I'm pretty sure I brought some bugs into the house though. There was a bug crawling on my screen earlier. Don't go chasing waterfalls.
And is the level of intoxication pretty high here for everybody?
It's happy.
Yeah.
It's
You'd had a lot to drink, right?
I wouldn't say I have like a normal amount. Like a vodka tonic every 40 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know, man. When there are people that drink a fuck ton and their definition of normal sometimes is not, it's very skewed, you know? Yeah, I had a normal amount. Okay, what's your definition of normal amount, ma'am? How many glasses? Oh, I don't know, like 5, 8, 10, 12. All right, sorry, let me listen to this again. Try to get the quotes.
And is the level of intoxication pretty high here for everybody?
It's happy.
Yeah.
It's
You'd had a lot to drink, right?
I wouldn't say I have like a normal amount. Like a vodka tonic every 40 minutes.
Okay. And so are you feeling like buzzed? And I'm not judging, I'm just trying to get a
Yeah,
sense.
buzzed.
Yeah.
Clip 9, please.
But see, like a vodka tonic every 40 minutes depends on how long you were drinking it for. When was this? ID docuseries. Clip. ID docuseries, June 15, 2024. Okay. Can I subtitle? Long Crave doesn't have subtitles. Wah. Let me see if Court TV. I can do Court TV maybe, but the subtitles are probably going to be dog shit. I don't know if we'll pick it up. Let's see. Court TV, Karen Reed, trial day 3, right? Let's see.
I'm just trying to get a
Yeah,
sense.
buzzed.
Yeah.
Clip 9, please.
9. Why he say it like that? 9.
And so are you feeling like buzzed? And I'm not judging, I'm just trying to get a
Yeah,
sense.
buzzed.
Yeah.
Clip 9, please.
I don't think she was buzzing. I think she was getting drunk as with everyone else too.
The final count of my alcohol intakes, probably about 5 or 6 or 4. The drinks that they were pouring me at McCarthy's, which is where I consumed most of the alcohol, was the weakest vodka tonic. It tasted just like all soda water with lime. Not that I need it to be a martini, but it might have had a splash of vodka in it. So I said, John, this drink tastes like it has no vodka in it. He said, just get a shot and mix it yourself.
I don't know, and I don't know if like maybe she did drink a lot back then. Maybe they were weak, like she said, or she was a heavy fucking drinker, and to her it was weak.
So each drink was being counted as a double, but it might have had a splash of vodka in it. So I said, John, this drink tastes like it has no vodka in it. He said, just get a shot and mix it yourself. So each drink was being counted as a double. So I would get a vodka tonic and then I would pour a shot into it. So that would count as 2. But frankly, it just felt like a regular cocktail. It was just a really weak pour. So I asked for a shot. So for my taste, it just tasted like that's the normal strength of what a drink should be. So I had maybe 2 or 3 that are being counted as 4 and 6. And I don't know. I felt
That's actually a pretty fucking good explanation, though. If you guys like if there's any other future cases where it involves like DUI, DWI, or anything like that, and they're like, well, we have footage of you at the bar drinking 6 drinks. You could be like, well, actually, the drinks were so weak that it may look like 6 drinks, but technically it was 3 because there's like, it felt like there's barely any liquor in there. Like, that's a pretty good fucking explanation. But I mean, honestly, I think it's also, I think they were heavy drinkers. Honestly, I think they were heavy drinkers. It seems like they drank a lot. It's a possibility that maybe it was really weak, or you know, to someone who's a heavy drinker, it's like this taste is weak, but maybe really it's not weak.
Fine. I felt like
But I think it's a really good explanation, though.
I was buzzed. And then there was one drink, the last one that was given to me, which I would have counted as 3, but they're counting as my 6th cocktail. The guys that we were with brought around the shots, and they gave me one that I didn't drink, but I poured it in my drink. So that's now my 5th and 6th drinks, with the 7th, which is a shot that all the men did, and I poured it. So that one glass that I'm holding, that I go into the waterfall with, has 3 drinks in it, a vodka tonic and 2 shots, and which is why John.
But I don't know. Here's the thing, though. If you're okay, if you got a mixed drink and then you put a shot in it, I wouldn't count that as one drink, though. I would still count that as, like, let's say if it was weak, maybe it's 1.5 drink. Because there's probably still some vodka in there. Let's say we go with the version of her story that it was a weak drink. I'm sure there's still some vodka in there. You know, I wouldn't round down to 1 drink. You got a shot, you put in a drink that's weak. Maybe it's 1.5 shot. Maybe it's 1.3 shot.
John said to me, you're not leaving that drink here, like you haven't touched it and just poured a bunch of wine. He's like, just take it with you, which was something he always did. So then I go into waterfall and I put that drink down and I socialize most of the time. So that would have been my 5th, 6th, and 7th drinks. Then John orders me a drink at the waterfall that I don't drink, that he takes with him. And then there was a round of shots that Chris Howard bought that I did take. So that would have been
Yeah, I don't know. Lots of shots, okay? Lots of shots, lots of mixed drinks. Sorry, I'm just trying to get quotes really quick.
2 shots, and which is why John said to me, you're not leaving that drink here, like you haven't touched it and just poured a bunch of wine. He's like, just take it with you, which was something he always did. So then I go into waterfall and I put that drink down and I socialize most of the time. So that would have been my 5th, 6th, and 7th drinks. Then John orders me a drink at the waterfall that I don't drink, that he takes with him. And then there was a round of shots that Chris Howard bought that I did take. So that would have been the night. But I did not consume 9 vodka martinis or take 9 shots, depending on how you count it. And the last 2 drinks, I didn't touch.
Clip 10, please.
ID docu-series 2024. Let me tell you guys, if you guys are ever accused of a crime and you're awaiting trial, don't do any fucking interviews. Just don't. I know you want to get ahead of it. You want to get the public on your side, but like interviews like this, like don't fucking do the interviews. Don't do it.
I mean, I'm not as clear as I would be if I hadn't been drinking.
Okay, I don't even know what's up with that statement. Duh. I don't think anyone would be as clear if they weren't as compared to a version of them that weren't drinking. I don't know. That just sounds like minimization to me, but okay.
I mean, I'm not as clear as I would be if I hadn't been drinking. I mean, I had drank, so, and that led me to question, like, could I have hit him? Did I run over his foot or hit him in the knee? Did I incapacitate him? I mean, I always drive with my music blasting ever since I was 16.
Or hit his knee. Did I incapacitate? I think there was I think they're in an interview that came out recently as well. She was talking to Yannetti and she was saying the same thing to Yannetti, like, oh, Yannetti, like, you know, could I have done this? Could I have done that? Could I have done X, Y, and Z? Could I have hit him? And then Yannetti's like, well, that still counts, you know, as like an accident. And she would still get in trouble for that. Incapacitate him. But that was before Yannetti and her I think it was before they saw the injuries on his arm. Maybe. Because I think Yannetti was hired thinking that it could have just been an accident, possibly as well. And if it was an accident, then, you know, she would still be responsible. That was basically what he was telling her.
Could I have hit him? Did I run over his foot or hit him in the knee? Did I incapacitate him? I mean, I always drive with my music blasting ever since I was 16. And I know when John got out of the car to go into Fairview, I know my car was blasting because when I got in it the next morning to go look for him, I had to immediately turn it down. And I mean, I always drive with my music blasting ever since I was 16. And I know when John got out of the car to go into Fairview, I know my car was blasting because when I got in it the next morning to go look for him, I had to immediately turn it down. And I don't know, it's stormy. I have had a few cocktails. I didn't black out, but I wasn't as lucid as I would have been if I had gone to bed at 9 and drank a tea.
Well, duh.
But so I was fuzzier than I would have been if I had had no alcohol.
Yeah.
Clip 11, please.
Clip 11. Where is this from? Did it say where this one was from? Clip. ID docu-series. June 15, 2024. All right.
How did you feel after that many drinks? When you got in the car, did you feel like you could drive? And did you feel how
I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway. I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway at 12:15 on January 29th. I mean, it was quiet. The roads were very quiet. You can see it on the videos. And I was going, you know, when I've had a few drinks and I drive, I always drive extra slow. So I know my alerts aren't as sharp as they should be. But I shouldn't have been driving. But I don't think I was driving. I know I wasn't driving recklessly. I mean, I've got plenty of video of myself driving all over the place. I put my car in John's garage, which is incredibly narrow, and I had a very oversized SUV. You see me. There's a video of me driving through the intersection when we leave Waterfall to go to Brian Albert's, and I was always taught by my father, even when you have a green light, you always should tap the brake. You don't know who's going to run a red. And I see me doing that multiple times between 12 and 1 and 5 and 6 a.m. So I know I was driving safely, not as safely or as alert as I would.
Wait, this is when she was driving at 5, 6 a.m.? I thought we were talking about leaving the waterfall. What?
On John's garage, which is incredibly narrow, and I had a very oversized SUV. You see me. There's a video of me driving through the intersection when we leave Waterfall to go to Brian Albert's, and I was always taught by my father, even when you have a green light, you always should tap the brake. You don't know who's going to run a red. And I see me doing that multiple times between 12 and 1 and 5 and 6 a.m. So I know I was driving.
Oh, between 12 and 1 and 5 and 6 a.m. 5 and 6 would have been when she was like driving around looking for John, right?
Safely, not as safely or as alert as I would be if I had no alcohol, but I was not driving recklessly by any measure.
Thank you. Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe she blasted the music after he got out of the car. I was thinking the same thing too, Taxi. Maybe she was just really nervous. I feel like in the interview she sounded a little bit slurred. I think that's it for the day. Yeah, that's it for the day. All right, y'all, that is pretty much it for the day. The jury's going to have a little viewing at 34 Fairview tomorrow, from my understanding.
Regarding witnesses. So those are the witnesses for today. So we're done for today. Counselor,
what a short court day. Wet brain? What is wet brain? I've never heard of wet brain before.
Me, that won't happen again, but more importantly, we're on track. We're on schedule, not going for the rest of the day, won't interfere with our schedule at all. It looks like it's, you can't tell with all the curtains here, but it looks like it's a beautiful day. You'll have a nice afternoon. Tomorrow we'll be going on a view. So for that, we're comfortable close. We'll be walking around a little bit. We'll be going by bus, and I'll have more instructions for you tomorrow morning. But please follow those instructions. Do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know.
All right, guys. So that's it for the day. They're doing ARCA stuff tomorrow, I think. Oh, let's watch the jury interviews from Lori Vallow Daybell trial. I saw there was 2. I think that was linked in the Discord. There's more. Can you guys link it?
Mr. Brennan, have you had an opportunity to think about whether experts should be permitted to either be present or watch the proceeding? And I also want to know, are you expecting to put on any expert testimony tomorrow?
Dr. Fowler will testify tomorrow. I think that should be considered expert testimony. He provides the procedures and protocol for the testing of blood serum.
Okay.
So I think he's technically considered an expert.
Oh, did Dr. Fowler, did he testify in the first trial? There was a guy who did like some reverse engineer on like the blood test or something to try to figure out what Karen Reed's blood alcohol level was at like 1 a.m. or some shit.
Although one of the briefer ones.
All right. Does the defense want an expert to be able to watch that? All right. So
and I think there's a debate between whether or not that's like woo-woo science.
I know we've had a lot going on this morning. Do you want to address this tomorrow? When do you want to address whether experts should be present?
I can address it tomorrow morning. I can consider.
All right. We'll do that. And have you talked about who you all mean? Like, do you all know who you want to have exempt from the sequestration order?
We haven't got to that detail. I'm sure they have in mind who they want. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
All right.
We can have that discussion so that we can present tomorrow what my position is and address the court on the witnesses.
Sure, we can do that. And then I know you said that you've got an agreement that you'll provide witnesses or a list of witnesses in advance to defense counsel, and I'm sure you'll provide witnesses in advance to Mr. Brennan. Include me on that, please. I'd just like to know who's coming up the next day because I have to prepare as well.
Happy to. Thank you.
Okay? All right, so we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you again.
I wonder if Brennan's going to be doing all the direct and cross-examination of the witnesses. He must be so fucking tired. Like, we're only on day 3. I'm sure he's, like, chill right now, but, like, oh, my God. Imagine getting to, like, day 27, day 35, like, doing all the cross and the direct, because Mr. Lawley, you can tell, like, the fucking energy was just draining out of him because he was doing, like, everything. They needed to hire, like, another attorney to split the direct and the cross and stuff like that. And not, I wouldn't even put Lawley on any of it. I would not put Lawley in it at all. It's a lot of work.
All right.
How long is the interview with Hidden True Crime? Okay, well, tomorrow, Dr. Fowler. Let's see. Oh, East Idaho News. Yay. All right, we got some East Idaho news.
The jurors walk out of the courthouse. Well, you know, we're reporters. So half of them go this way.
Hi, Nate. There's Nate. Oh, gosh. Oh, should we listen to this? I was just going to fast forward. I guess we'll listen
Half
to
of them go this way. I run down to give my card to several jurors. They wouldn't take it. The ones that walk this way. The ones that walk the other way, a bunch of cameras are chasing them, to be honest. And they have to wait for a shuttle bus to go back to their cars. So they're standing there. They can't really go anywhere. And that's when the other reporters started to talk to them. And I ran up and I, stuck my phone. I told Jordan he was there. I'm like, you stay here. I'm going to go videotape these guys, see what they have to say. And that's where those interviews happened that you probably saw. I played them last night. And those jurors seemed very, very kind, very wonderful. But they probably also had zero media training.
Oh, not this? Don't watch this? What about this one?
Remember your
Listen to it closely and then we'll talk about it.
yeah. Do you remember your reaction learning that she has been convicted and killing her 2 children?
You know, I feel sorry for her, I mean, driving home yesterday, I'm just like, God, she's spending the next 3 lives in prison in a cell, I mean, you gotta feel sorry for her, even though
What? Feel sorry for her? Oh, maybe I'm just too fucking petty. What? Oh, God. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just not a good person or something. I don't feel sorry for her at all. Got what she deserved. I I feel sorry that a person would go down that path to feel like they would have to kill their children and their SOs. But do I feel sorry for her? No.
I mean, that's an awful thing to do. I mean, there's something wrong up here, but.
Oh, okay. Should I just start with the other one then? Let's start with the other ones. This one. Thanks, Rain.
The jurors walk out of the courthouse.
Wait, fuck. This is the same one. Hold on. This one?
Walking out now, knowing.
Holy shit, he's being swarmed. This one? This is the other one. Oh. Inappropriate relationship. Okay, I think this is the one, right?
I mean, I think you're knowing how high profile this case was. What's going through your head?
Sadness. It's sad. Whoops, I'm sorry. It's just sad that, this has happened to Charles, and she's given up her life as well. It's sad.
What did you think of her defending herself? Anything that went through the jury's head with that?
Well, for me personally, I thought, what does she have to lose? Guilty or not guilty, what does she have to lose? So,
were any of you folks aware that this woman had already been
I had never been
convicted
heard.
of
I have never heard
3
of her.
homicides?
Yeah, no,
and
I've
the
never
jurors
heard of
did
her
not know
before.
that.
No, I did not.
And nobody brought it.
And ma'am, would you want to come in and talk too? Do you want to say anything?
Just because there's a lot of backstory here, and this woman had already been convicted of 3 homicides, and they obviously didn't want you folks to know that. Nobody knew that during your deliberations.
No.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Wow.
What was this experience like for you?
It was sad, as he said. For me, it was the text messages that did it, as far as the evidence. And I feel like we uncovered some lies.
Do you think knowing now that she was convicted of killing her 2 children?
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I got caught up in the chat really quick. Okay. We're in a new. Okay. I'm paying attention.
So,
were any of you folks aware that this woman had already been
I had never
convicted
been heard.
of
I have never
3
heard of her.
homicides?
Yeah, no,
and
I've
the
never
jurors
heard of
did
her
not know
before.
that.
No, I did not.
And nobody brought it.
And ma'am, would you want to come in and talk too? Do you want to say anything?
Just because there's a lot of backstory here, and this woman had already been convicted of 3 homicides, and they obviously didn't want you folks to know that. Nobody knew that during your deliberations.
No.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Wow.
What was this experience like for you?
It was sad, as he said. For me, it was the text messages that did it, as far as the evidence. And I feel like we uncovered some lies.
Do you think knowing now that she was convicted of killing her 2 children in Idaho?
I haven't had a chance to Google everything. I'm sure as soon as we get on the shuttle. So might have more to say later.
Was that difficult going through this and not being able to be disconnected?
Yeah. It just felt like there was a lot of information that didn't make sense and that was missing.
Do you think she did herself any favors by defending herself?
No.
You were not impressed with her
No.
Hell no.
lawyering skills?
No.
What did you think of her behavior during cross-examination, the way that at one moments she was argumentative with some of the witnesses?
Many days she just was smiling and laughing and didn't seem to take anything very seriously.
Were you hoping to hear?
Wow, dude, she was even like that in front of the jurors. Jeez, I thought she would at least keep that out. If the jurors was present, then act professional. Don't be all giddy and shit. I don't know. She's fucking crazy, dude.
How much of that did that play into a factor into the decision?
It did.
Were you hoping to hear her testify? Were you hoping
Yes,
to hear her
I was.
testify? And what about you?
I didn't understand why she didn't call any witnesses.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Or why she didn't have I know she made a statement about the only family that was interviewed was her estranged brother, and why wasn't her parents or her sister, but yet she didn't call them.
In saying that, she is not.
I know the jury is not supposed to judge if the defense doesn't call any witnesses or the defense doesn't testify, but I think it still factors in their decision. You're not supposed to include that in your decision, but I think it's still something that lingers in the back of their mind.
obligated to prove her innocence.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
And you gave her that benefit of the doubt. She recognized she didn't have to put on the defense.
she knew.
Right,
yeah,
right.
absolutely, She knew.
Was the fact that she didn't put up a defense or take the stand in her own defense part of your deliberation at all?
Did it
was
affect
all
you?
evidence. It was all evidence that was produced
Yeah.
and presented to us.
Sorry if this was asked, what would you say the biggest piece of evidence for you guys as a jury was when you came to the decision?
Well, for me, like her, it was the text.
The
Texts
text
were
history.
damning.
What specifically about the text?
Oh, there were so
I don't know
many.
if I can do that. Yeah, there was.
I mean,
there
we
was
had
two of them for me
pages.
that really stood out.
Which ones?
Which ones?
The
Um,
Nephi.
Yeah, that was one of them. Soon you will be Nephi, and so will I. So that was one of them. But I don't know if I should say anything more.
We heard so much about dark spirits and religion and how this all plays into it. I mean, as a jury, what's going through your head when you start hearing that in court?
What the fuck?
For me, that didn't really play a big role because you have to have evidence of conspiracy, and that is not evidence of conspiracy to me.
Was it unusual for you guys to? I mean, you're talking about her brother Alex, the guy who actually did that was the triggerman. So many players were referenced in this trial, and you never saw them, and never heard
Correct.
from them. That had to be confusing when
It
you
was
guys got
very
back in the jury room. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very confusing.
What did
It just felt like there was so much of the story that was missing.
Did she have any valid arguments, like anything that made you think maybe she's not guilty?
Do you want to answer? I can't think of any.
You know, honestly, up until yesterday, I would have said not guilty. But when the prosecutor, I don't know, what do they call that? When they give their
Closing argument?
Yes, the closing
Connected
argument.
the
That's
dots.
really, there's a few things she said in there, and when I looked them up today, I was like, oh yeah, that's bad.
And you were still on the fence yesterday.
I was yesterday. Yeah.
Give us a sense of what it was like to be in that jury.
Like when he looked them up today after the verdict? What does that mean, sir?
When I looked them up today, I was like, oh yeah, that's bad.
And you were still on the fence yesterday.
Maybe he meant after the verdict.
I was yesterday. Yeah.
Give us a sense of what it was like to be in that jury room. Was there a point that someone was disagreeing, saying that maybe she is not guilty?
Yes.
Were you guys
There was
all...
a couple.
And what was that like? Walk us through that.
It's just a matter of, adults working things out and going through all the evidence and figuring out, what we thought, what we were going to come to an agreement with.
To learn now that everyone that was in
Who was that yelling in the background with their smoker's voice? Good job, victory!
that house that day, minus Daybell, is all not with us anymore. Is dead or has been killed. I mean, what is that like to hear as jurors walking out?
Sad. Like I kept wanting to hear from Tylee.
Oh. And then they find out what happened to Tylee. Yeah.
I was going to ask, is anybody wondering why Tylee wasn't testifying?
Yes.
You were.
Did you ever ask the judge why aren't they here? Or...
No. And the one witness that really got to me was hearing Kay. I was holding back my emotions.
One of the biggest factors in your decision today?
One of the biggest factors was probably when we were sitting there, whenever they would ask a question about the Mormon stuff and all that, she would just kind of look at us and smile and smirk. So it kind of gave it away for a lot of it. Just kind of didn't really care.
What were those conversations like in the jury room? I mean, going back and forth when everyone was deliberating. Can you kind of put us inside that room with you?
Oh, it was this juror who did the interview with them? Okay.
Let's see. It was kind of, so a lot of us already knew. A couple of us just needed the extra, we needed to re-look back through the evidence, the text messages and all that. So it was a little bit of back and forth, but all of us were pretty sure we already knew what we wanted.
Was there one piece of evidence that really convinced you she was guilty?
Probably when she said that he was Ned before they got rid of him.
Oh boy.
That was probably the part where we were like, okay, now it's real.
Did you ever wonder why Tylee wasn't testifying as a witness?
Yes. We didn't really have much to say about it though, because we didn't really know anything, why she didn't, stuff like that.
And do you
Oh, it's the same interview. Gotcha.
understand now that every other witness that was there that day is now dead?
Yes.
When did you learn that?
At the end, when we first were walking out, everyone was talking about it. We got told to look up her previous stuff so that we were aware.
And in that jury room, this woman's been convicted of 3 homicides. You guys didn't know that.
We did not.
None of you guys knew that.
Correct, yeah.
No.
Yep.
And then hearing all the missing pieces in the trial, the people who didn't testify, there were a lot of holes when you went into the jury room that were not explained to you. Must have made it more difficult.
It did, which is why we went back through everything just to make sure we didn't miss anything, to make sure that we were 100% on what we were.
Oh, there is a separate Zoom interview. Okay.
Choosing to do.
Was there anything that made you think she might not be guilty?
No.
When you went back to the deliberation room, were there any jurors that were uncertain and some that were certain? Where did you start? What was the foundation for deliberations?
I think probably 10 out of 12 of us were certain. The other 2, we helped them go back to what they needed to learn to kind of make up their mind. And then, we just kind of went from there.
Did you guys look at any additional evidence once you were back there? Because I know that not all of the evidence was presented in court, and they said there was additional. Lori asked you to watch the entire interview, for example, and Trina K invited you to do the same. Did you guys do any of that?
We did. That was actually one of the first things we did, because what we saw was only clip-its, and going back through it, it was actually kind of the whole interview that was like that. She asked us to watch the whole thing, but the whole thing was pretty much those clip-its, other than her laughing, smiling about, she was kind of just at peace. Like, she was just sitting there, her legs were crossed, she was sitting all the way up on the seat with no shoes on, just her legs were crossed like she was in her own home.
Lori made a big deal out of being called nonchalant or calm throughout the entire trial. Didn't think it was really fair. Was that something that affected you guys, her calmness or nonchalantness?
Yes. Being that calm when everything happened, it's not something that you would normally be calm about. You'd expect to be sad, asking how your brother's doing, since he was the one that got injured during it too. She didn't do any of that. She was just,
nonchalant enchilada.
She knew it happened, and she just went with it like that.
Did you want her to testify?
I guess I don't know. Yes, seeing Charles's sister's reaction when they did say she pled guilty was really relieving. It made all of us feel really good that they got justice.
Can we get your first and last name?
Natasha Smith.
Natasha Smith.
Also known as Tosh Reed Tucker, though.
Tosh Reed Tucker?
Yes.
Can you spell that?
Tass, and then my last name is Reed Tucker, Reed-Tucker.
Do you plan to go watch a bunch of stuff about this case now, or are you?
Yes.
No, don't do it. Take a break. Don't do it. Don't go down this rabbit hole.
I believe we're told that there's some.
Oh, Rain, I put the reason why in the Discord chat.
There's a Netflix documentary, and you can basically just Google it. Everything will pop up. So that's probably what I'm gonna do when I get home.
You're gonna die.
Don't do it.
Yes,
And you really didn't know anything about this case coming on as a juror?
No, and I told my grandma that I got requested for jury, and she asked if I know anything about it. I told her the name, and her jaw dropped. Like, I was supposed to know who she was. Like, she thought it was insane that I didn't know what was happening, but I just moved here 2 years ago as of March, so I didn't really know anything to begin with, but my grandma did, and she thought I was just crazy for not knowing.
Where'd you live previously?
Minnesota.
And so your grandmother was able to keep
Yeah, if I asked any of my family members, do you know who Lori Vallow is? They're all gonna be like, no, what the fuck is that?
a tight lip on
She
things.
did, yes, she did.
Fun discussion with her
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah, and I actually see her tonight too because my mom just flew in from Minnesota, so I'm gonna
Watch
go
the-
see them after this, and we're probably gonna watch everything.
I have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, Taxi Rain. I put the possible reason in the Discord chat. All right, y'all. Well, that's the jurors. They spoke out. Nonchalant enchilada. If you guys see any other juror interviews with other jurors, let me know. And yeah, we'll keep an eye out. All right, guys. That's it for today. How's everyone doing? What are you guys all doing right now? Check the Discord. What's going on here? Oh, are we talking about The Last of Us? Oh, man. I don't want to watch the rest of the season, but I'm kind of curious. Ellie, yeah. I mean, honestly, like anytime when you have the main protagonist go through the whole like teenage angst, like fuck the world, I'm better than everyone, I'm invincible. That's always been a huge like annoyance to me. I know it's supposed to be part of character development, and that's just how it is when like you're young, but like, oh god, I fucking hated it. Everyone knows how cursed the second game is. I was thinking maybe they would take a different approach in season 2. I don't know. I thought maybe they would like decide to pivot. Because I can't imagine, you know, the dedicated gamers. I don't know if they would be angry if they decided to pivot into season 2. Oh, you're sewing right now. Fun. You're finishing a skirt. Nice. I wish I could make my own clothes. The Roomba won't charge. Oh no. Is it time to get a new Roomba? Oh my god, you guys are so funny. I'm reading the whole Last of Us stuff. For some reason, after the major event in The Last of Us 2, I don't remember what happens. I don't know if I just like did not watch a playthrough, or did I watch a playthrough and I just completely forgot because I just decided to just like erase it out of my brain. Have I read the current charges against Karen? Aren't they the same as the last trial? Second-degree murder, and then there's the manslaughter one, and then the third one was like it was like OWI or something, leaving the scene, causing bodily injury or something like that. Is there anything different in this one? Really? The definitions are different? No. Where can I read that? Can I read current charges? I mean, I was half listening when the judge was talking about the jury in the beginning. Is that what it would have been went over? Yeah, second-degree murder, manslaughter, and leaving the scene. Is it different? How's it different? Is there an article you can link if you're in the Discord? I can read it. Oh, which reminds me, I gotta go do some yard work. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for today. I appreciate you guys being here. I plan on doing a Sarah Boone sidebar stream. I'm hoping maybe tomorrow. I have the document downloaded. I'm gonna go through them and yeah, just basically just read them before I do the live stream with you guys. I think we're gonna do it maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. I was going to do it today, but then I was like, I kind of want to pre-read it. That way, when I read it, it could be a little bit better. Sometimes if I read it without reading it beforehand, it might be a little bit janky. So I think we'll do that, I think this week. Depends on how much I get through, I guess. But yeah, keep an eye out. Sarah Boone, sidebars. Look forward to doing it. I'm sad that we don't have an older lady voice to do, because I really enjoyed doing the Elaine voice. I don't know how to do men's voice, but we'll try. Oh, yeah, maybe the Roomba just needs to have the battery replaced. But I don't know, depending on how old the Roomba is, maybe it's just worth buying a new one. Or maybe it's under warranty. Good luck. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, we do have a second channel, which I plan on uploading my second part of the Italy trip. I just forgot. I have it ready. I just forgot. Dude, it's been like a month. So horrible. I'm a horrible person. I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys enjoyed the stream, like the button. And yeah, I will see you guys a different day. I'll see you guys again. I appreciate you guys all being here. Have a good one. Take care. Go outside, get some fresh air, take a break from all the true crime shit. And man, good luck to all the jury who decides to go into the fucking deep, dark rabbit hole of the Lori Vallow shit because, whew, it's a lot.